American Comics. My dad is Batman. Author Liu Pi. Synopsis. Reborn into a world where Marvel and DC coexist. He became the illegitimate son of Bruce Wayne, Batman. The film and television technology system was successfully activated. You can arbitrarily extract technology from known movies and TV shows. Use Ultron-level artificial intelligence at the beginning to push Joker to a dead end. Successfully slap Tony Stark in the face at the Stark Industrial Conference. This is the birth of a technological genius from Marvel and DC. Chapter 1 Film and Television Technology System. Please give me flowers and collect them. Master, I'm afraid this little guy is really your son. In a luxurious office, an old man with grey hair and a very kind face said to the middle-aged man in front of him. The middle-aged man's face was full of disbelief. Alfred, this is impossible. Seeing this child who he had watched grow up, there was actually some panic on his face. A narrow smile appeared on Alfred's face. He has never seen Batman like this. Oh, sir, although I think it's impossible, the facts are here, isn't it? Alfred shrugged. The expression on Bruce Wayne's face became more complicated. Alfred, I'm not that playboy Tony Stark. This shouldn't happen. Oh, it really shouldn't be. But in fact, your son is already 10 years old. Instead of thinking about the origin of this child, you should think about how to take care of this child. Master. As he spoke, Alfred patted Bruce Wayne on the shoulder. Only Bruce Wayne and a teenage boy were left staring. Sitting in front of Bruce Wayne is a child who looks obviously Chinese American. Compared to Bruce Wayne, Jason Lee is even more confused. He was originally an ordinary college student, but because of a car accident, he traveled to this world. After 10 years of understanding, only then did he realize that the world was not as simple as he imagined, because the name of the city he lives in is Gotham City. What's even more outrageous is that he often sees Iron Man's handsome figure on TV. This made him, who was still young and ordinary, tremble. As the saying goes, when Marvel shows up as a dog, the gods tremble 3 times. Find someone in Gotham and kill a god in the blink of an eye. It would be okay if he simply traveled through a Marvel or DC world, and he might be able to rely on the prophet to find a place to live alone. But the Marvel plus DC world is simply a hell within hell. To make matters worse, his mother, who had raised him for 10 years, died in an accident. Before he dies, let him bring the token to find his biological father in this world. Only, what Jason Lee didn't expect was, his father turns out to be Bruce Wayne, the famous Batman. Just when Jason Lee was secretly happy, a voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Film and television technology system binding completed. Jason Lee's face was stunned, and his face was full of confusion. Looking at Batman opposite him, he was also a little embarrassed. Although Bruce Wayne is a very determined man, he can remain calm when facing cunning opponents. But suddenly I learned that I had a son, still a 10-year-old son. He was still a little at a loss. When I think about the past 10 years, this child has not been with his father. Bruce Wayne's heart was filled with guilt. After hesitating for a long time, Bruce Wayne finally spoke. Jason, what's wrong with you? Are you feeling unwell? No. Jason's answer was a bit nonchalant. At the moment, the surprise of having Batman with such big legs was directly diluted. The system's beep sounded in his mind again. The world is anchoring. World rules are being analyzed. The origin law is matched. Congratulations to the host. The film and television technology system can extract technology from film and television works known to the host. Every time the host reproduces a technology, it will be rewarded with a chance to draw. Technology extraction. Congratulations to the host. You have obtained Ultron-level artificial intelligence. Immediately afterwards, a stream of data that seemed to be substantial emerged from his eyes. Jason just felt dazed for a while, and there was a lot more content in his brain. And it was as if he had studied the contents himself. He mastered it skillfully in his mind, and there was no feeling of unfamiliarity at all. Feel this knowledge in your mind. Jason had tears in his eyes. After so many years of hard life, things finally turned around for him. What a double blessing today. Seeing Jason's face look confused, complicated, and joyful at the same time, it was like acting in a movie. Bruce Wayne's face was filled with worry. Look at this child, how pitiful he is. Seeing him even made me a little confused. Thinking of this, Bruce Wayne felt increasingly guilty. After all, blood is thicker than water. Even though it was his first time meeting his son, he still wanted to give him everything he had. Jason, don't get excited. I know you are feeling very complicated right now, but if you believe me, I will. I can give you whatever you want. Facing his own flesh and blood, even Bruce Wayne, who claims to have seen the world, can't help but feel a little at a loss. His words seemed a little cramped and confused. However, Jason, who was sitting opposite him, didn't consider this issue at all. He was completely immersed in the technology in his mind at the moment. Jason interrupted Bruce Wayne and said directly, I want a laboratory. Laboratory? Bruce Wayne was a little surprised. He thought Jason would say he wanted a toy or something. Are you sure, Jason? A lab is not something you should be using at your age. How about I buy you some toys? Bruce Wayne said with a smile. I just want a lab. Jason glanced at the stupid Bruce Wayne, and the imagination of his idol suddenly collapsed. In front of his son, Batman is no different from ordinary people. Bruce Wayne saw determination on Jason's face. He nodded helplessly. Okay, I'll give you a laboratory, but you must pay attention to safety. Seeing the expression on Jason's face was unmoved. Bruce Wayne made a phone call. Alfred, buy me a laboratory. How is it like? Bruce Wayne looked at Jason and looked at him expectantly. Definitely want the best. The best besides Wayne Group, Bruce Wayne said very firmly. Jason's face lit up when he heard this. It seems that there are some benefits to having a rich and cheap dad, especially since this dad is the legendary Batman. The Wayne family is one of the richest families in the entire Bald Eagle Empire. Probably 60% of the entire industry in Gotham City is related to the Wayne family. This is simply a magical start for him to develop technology. After all, there is an old saying, the rich rely on technology, the poor rely on mutation. If you want to do research, you can't do it without sufficient financial support. Therefore, the more Jason looked at this cheap dad, the more he liked him. Chapter 2 Biomimetic Quantum State Service Array. Please give me flowers and collections. The Wayne family is a very large family. In all the apparent industries in Gotham City, the Wayne family controls at least 60% of the industry. Wayne Group is involved in energy, new energy, materials, biology, etc. Compared to the Stark family, which has only been rich for 2 generations. The Wayne family is the well-deserved and crowned king. One of the most powerful families in the entire Bald Eagle Empire. As the helmsman of such a huge business empire, Bruce Wayne can be said to get the wind when he wants it, and the rain when he wants it. With just one phone call, a world-leading laboratory was purchased. Looking at the cutting-edge equipment in the laboratory, Jason's eyes turned red. Take the optical technology in front of him as an example. There are only a handful of countries in the world that can build this machine. He had never even seen a machine of this level in his previous life, because this thing is one of the high-precision equipment that is completely embargoed. Bruce Wayne just made a phone call and had one set up in the laboratory. Jason had to lament the impermanence of the world. Jason, it looks like you're happy with the equipment. Seeing the surprise in Jason's eyes, Bruce Wayne's face was also very happy. Although these equipments are expensive, they are just a drop in the bucket for him who has never had to worry about money in his life. After all, just one bat armor would cost him hundreds of millions of dollars. Moreover, he has an entire underground garage stocked with such different styles of bat armors. A laboratory is just a small thing. Making my son happy is the most important thing. I'm indeed satisfied. Thank you. Jason looked at Bruce Wayne seriously and said, although he admires Batman very much, he still has some mental preparation to do when he calls someone daddy. Bruce Wayne obviously saw his dilemma. Jason, you can call me Bruce. Hearing this, Jason also breathed a sigh of relief. The traditions of the West and Japan are different. In many families, the relationship between father and son is more like that of friends, and calling each other by their first names is not a big deal. Okay Bruce, thank you. Bruce Wayne was extremely excited when he heard what his son said. It's just that Mr. Batman is also a man who has seen the world after all. He quickly calmed down and asked strangely, Jason, what do you need a lab for? This equipment is not for assembling toys. Bruce Wayne had no idea what the 10-year-old Jason could do with a laboratory. Just think he wants to play. What can a 10-year-old do? Jason rolled his eyes wide. I'm going to create an artificial intelligence. What? Bruce Wayne was stunned when he heard Jason's childish voice. AI? Subconsciously he thought his son was joking. As the young master of a large family, he also received a very high education. Even if his research is not in this direction, he still knows what the concept of artificial intelligence is in the true sense. Thinking of this, a big smile appeared on Bruce Wayne's face. Jason, do you know what artificial intelligence is? Artificial intelligence is a complicated thing. Jason, I think you will definitely be able to create real artificial intelligence in the future. Jason rolled his eyes. I don't want to talk to the guy in front of me who looks very dandy. I know for sure, Bruce. Okay, we'll talk about other things later. I'm going to start testing. Bruce Wayne also wanted to be affectionate with his son, but Jason pushed him out very forcefully. After pushing Bruce Wayne out, Jason breathed a long sigh of relief. He wasn't ready to be with Bruce Wayne. Fortunately, he has plenty of time now. He shook his head, driving away the messy thoughts from his mind. Jason started thinking about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence and traditional manual response programs are more advanced in terms of algorithms, but they still require the support of basic hardware. Every action of artificial intelligence requires the support of massive computing capabilities. Ultron created by Tony Stark. Its original servers occupied more than a dozen floors of the Stark building. If Jason wants to create an artificial intelligence of the same level, he naturally needs to build his own server array first. Tony Stark's creation of Ultron was actually just luck. Without the mind gem that this guy Loki brought to the Earth, give him a few more decades, and I'm afraid Tony Stark won't be able to create a true artificial intelligence. Although the level of intelligence of Jarvis is very high, there is still a big gap between it and real artificial intelligence. Jason's difficulty in creating an artificial intelligence without mind gem can be imagined. You know, even in the Marvel universe where technology is so advanced, only the Kree have their own artificial intelligence. The supreme wisdom of the Gree's artificial intelligence uses a server array as large as a planet. Jason doesn't have the ability to create such a large server now. It seems that the knowledge given by the system is correct, and it wants to carry artificial intelligence. Existing servers on the planet are simply not powerful enough. Unless the redundant computing power of the internet is used, it will not be able to support the computing capabilities of artificial intelligence. The Bionic Quantum State Service Array is the only way out. A glimmer of wisdom flashed in Jason's eyes. The human brain is a very magical thing. In the Marvel world where technology is so advanced, the brain remains a forbidden area beyond the reach of all civilizations. It's just that there are billions of neurons in a brain that is only a few dozen cubes. If these neurons can be utilized, the computing capabilities they provide are huge. The technology given by the system is created based on the human brain. Bionic Quantum State Service Array. The JARVIS body in the Tony Stark building actually already has the prototype of this technology. The system is indeed a fully mature technology. The technology is at least one generation more mature than Tony Stark's. The artificial intelligence created is also more powerful. Jason's eyes flashed with excitement and he started his manufacturing work. Over the next few months, Jason's laboratory began to become very lively. Countless people come in every day. Countless people also went out. Countless materials were transported into this laboratory under the orders of Wayne Group. Jason's artificial intelligence calculations also began to improve at a speed visible to the naked eye. 5 months later, Jason finally walked out of the lab. Behind him, a huge sphere with a diameter of more than 20 meters was constantly flashing with dazzling golden light. Chapter 3 Fox, please give me flowers and collect them. Grandpa Alfred, where is Bruce? After Jason came out of the laboratory, he went straight to the loyal butler of the Wayne family. As for his cheap man, I don't know where he went at this time. In the first month, Bruce Wayne was very patient around Jason, but later, when he saw Jason doing the experiment well, his own chivalrous heart was ready to move again. That is, during the day, Jason may still see Bruce Wayne, but at night there is no shadow of Bruce Wayne at all. The key is that Bruce Wayne doesn't know yet that Jason already knows his secret. He often finds various lame excuses to excuse him. For example, attending dance parties, company meetings, discussing cooperation, etc. Jason has always been curious about which company is so crazy and often holds meetings early in the morning. On the contrary, Alfred has been taking care of him during this time. So during this period, his relationship with Alfred was going very well. Ah, young master. He has gone to a meeting. There is an impromptu meeting in Bankside Country. Jason was amazed when he heard this. Older gingers are more spicy. For example, Alfred would not make up any excuse to have a meeting in Gotham City 2 days in the morning. Grandpa Alfred, there shouldn't be any danger in this meeting, right? Jason asked quietly. Last time, Bruce Wayne prevaricated him to go out for a meeting. When I came back, the circles under my eyes were blacker than those of a panda. I don't know how Bruce Wayne got panda eyes while wearing a bat mask. That's all. When he came back, Bruce Wayne even told him that he accidentally hit the door frame. This made Jason feel that these two people were insulting his intelligence. Hearing Jason ask this, a trace of embarrassment appeared on Alfred's face. Master, definitely, no, this won't happen. Alfred just finished speaking. I saw Bruce Wayne, who had been beaten black-eyed in the distance, walking over with a depressed look on his face. Hey, Jason. Walking up to the two of them, Bruce forced his interest to say hello to Jason. I just saw the weird looks in their eyes. Bruce touched his face and said awkwardly, what's wrong? Is something wrong? Now even old guys like Alfred can't stand it anymore. Jason said in a faint tone, let me guess. Did you offend Sister Maria during the meeting this time and have her beaten? Maria is Bruce Wayne's personal secretary, who is responsible for acting as a vase during meetings. She is so delicate and weak. Jason said this just to make fun of Batman. Seeing Jason say this, Bruce's face flashed with embarrassment and he quickly changed the subject. Ah, Jason, I heard you were looking for me. What's the matter? Jason glanced up at him and said, my artificial intelligence is finished and I want you to take a look. What's so fast? Bruce Wayne glanced at Jason in surprise. Seeing that Jason didn't show any expression, he spoke. Okay, Alfred, let's go take a look. Look what surprise Jason brought us. Okay, sir. But, should we call Fox over? Alfred asked. Fox is the chief technology officer of Wayne Group. Bruce Wayne's Batsuit and Batmobile were both designed by Fox. Jason had created such an amazing thing, so naturally they wanted Fox to take a look. Okay, let's call Fox here too. Bruce Wayne returns. Jason didn't have any objections to this, and quietly waited for Fox to arrive. Although it was already 10 minutes past midnight, the old man Fox arrived at his laboratory quickly. Mr. Wayne, it is not polite to disturb an elderly person at this time. Fox looks like a very kind old black man with gray hair and looks very approachable. Okay Fox, you can't blame me. Who asked Jason to finish his work now? Bruce Wayne said with a shrug. Oh? What great work has our little Jason done? Fox squatted down and rubbed Jason's smiling face. Although Jason was very uncomfortable with Fox's intimate contact style, he could only endure it. Who said children have no human rights? My artificial intelligence research and development is completed. I will show you." Afraid of being poisoned by the bad old man Fox again, Jason hurriedly walked into the laboratory. "Oh, artificial intelligence? What an amazing invention." Fox also shrugged. Although he didn't think Jason could really come up with any black technology, he still followed it. Bruce Wayne and Alfred looked at each other and followed suit. After entering, the three of them were immediately shocked by the ball of light in front of them. That huge amount of golden ball of light in the middle of the laboratory. The half-virtual and half-real structure makes this light ball look very illusory. From time to time, golden light flashed, like lightning flashing across the sky, coupled with one bright and one dark golden light. This golden ball does not look like a dead thing, but seems to be alive. Bruce Wayne prides himself on having seen the world. He has seen Superman, but the scene in front of him still made him open his eyes wide. "Oh my God, what is this?" Alfred exclaimed in surprise. On the contrary, Fox's mind turned faster and he spoke directly. "Jason, isn't this the artificial intelligence you're talking about?" "Definitely." Jason nodded calmly. Hearing this, the old man Fox smiled. Although he was very amazed by this huge creation, he didn't think it was artificial intelligence. "Little Jason, what does your artificial intelligence run on?" "You know, artificial intelligence is not just a bunch of data, it also needs hardware support. I haven't seen the server that should be there." "Could it be that you put its server somewhere else?" When Fox said this, Bruce Wayne and Alfred also reacted. There is essentially no difference between artificial intelligence and ordinary computers. Human-computer interaction requires a series of complex operations, and these activities require servers to support them. The larger the server, the more complex the budget it can support. If you want to support the budget of artificial intelligence, the size of the server required cannot be solved by a small room. But they didn't see the so-called server, so how does this artificial intelligence work? All three turned their attention to Jason. Chapter 4, Stunned. "Please give me flowers and collect them." Jason looked at the three people as if they had never seen the world. "I couldn't help but feel contempt in my heart." Forget it about Bruce Wayne and Alfred, two people who don't know how to do it. Why is Fox's chief technical director so confused from here? In desperation, he explained. "This is definitely artificial intelligence. Because traditional server performance has limits, etc. Limited by the performance of materials, the performance of servers cannot be improved infinitely. Just the heat generation problem caused by the chip's original resistance will greatly reduce the efficiency." Jason said helplessly. Anyone who has played with computers knows that when a computer is run to its extreme, the temperature can easily rise. This is because there is resistance in the internal chip, which will cause the chip to heat up after power is turned on and reduce the operating efficiency of the chip. The same is true when switching to the server. No matter how good the heat dissipation is, it is impossible to completely dissipate the heat. In addition, the server originally has limitations. Naturally, new energy cannot yet compete with new technologies. To solve this problem, I took advantage of new technology. Bionically inspired quantum state service array. It is essentially an application of bionics, breaking particles into quark-level microscopic particles, and then performing quantum state calculations. This makes the artificial intelligence server in front of us comparable to a quantum computer to a certain extent. After Jason finished speaking, the other two people except Fox looked confused. "Although I don't know what Jason is talking about, I always have an uneasy feeling." "Jason, is what you've researched really so powerful?" Bruce Wayne coughed and said. However, his trembling voice still showed that he was not as calm as he appeared. Before Jason could speak, the old man Fox spoke first. "Awesome, Mr. Wayne. This is not just about being awesome. If what little Jason said is true, this matter is another breakthrough in the scientific community and may even be recorded in history. I think there should be no problem with the Nobel Prize," Fox said with some excitement. As the technical director of Wayne Group, he can better understand the significance of this technology. Having computing capabilities similar to those of a quantum computer is a great thing even without artificial intelligence. The gap between this invention and today's computers is like the gap between supercomputers and the first-generation computers decades ago. This is the gap between times. Hearing Fox's praise, Bruce Wayne came back to his senses. He rarely heard the old guy Fox praise others. Even Tony Stark, who is recognized as a genius, is nothing more than a handful in Fox's eyes. The technical difficulty of the batsuit created by Fox is no less than that of Iron Man's steel battlesuit. It's just that the application methods of the two are different. It's hard to hear Fox's praise. Bruce Wayne felt happy when he thought of this. It turns out Jason is really that good. Bruce Wayne smiled and said. Jason looked at Bruce Wayne's expression and rolled his eyes. "Okay, let me show you the most basic application of artificial intelligence." There are many applications of artificial intelligence. Whether it is computing or various data analysis, artificial intelligence performs very well. I will only show you the most basic function, face search and recognition. I can use the artificial intelligence to restore Bruce's movement tonight. As soon as Jason finished speaking, Bruce Wayne said loudly, "Impossible." He went out to do some heroic deeds tonight, and his whereabouts were very secretive. How could he be found out? Jason rolled his eyes, not wanting to talk to his cheap, illiterate man. He spoke directly. "Skynet, Start analysis. Yes, a charming voice came from all directions. Soon, a transparent screen appeared in midair. What was playing on the screen was surveillance video. Inside is what Bruce Wayne did tonight. Even the scene where Bruce Wayne puts on the batsuit and goes to the dock to do some heroic work. Looking at the scene on the surveillance video, it turned out to be the underground garage of Wayne Manor. Bruce Wayne was already dumbfounded, with a dumbfounded look on his face. The old man Alfred was also shocked and his hands were trembling as if he had Parkinson's disease. It took a long time before Bruce Wayne could hold back a sentence. It shouldn't be. Wayne Manor has the most advanced firewall in the world. The firewall at Area 51 is not necessarily better than the one here. Jason glanced at him and said calmly, in the face of artificial intelligence, any firewall is meaningless. Jason's eyes were full of calmness. Is that so, Fox? Alfred asked towards Fox. After hearing Alfred's question, Fox reacted from the shock. Then he said with a wry smile, that's true. Any digital defense is meaningless in the face of artificial intelligence. Now even if Jason wants to launch a nuclear bomb, we can't stop him. The physical isolation is not as strict as imagined. Any military robot should not be controlled by artificial intelligence. Fox smiled bitterly and shook his head. So what if Wayne Manor's electronic defenses were advanced? The gap between artificial intelligence and humans is difficult for ordinary people to imagine. The world's top hackers are like children in front of artificial intelligence. For example, ordinary hackers can only crack passwords through various methods. However, artificial intelligence can completely rely on performance to brute force passwords and perform exhaustive methods to crack them. This kind of computing ability is simply impossible for humans to possess. How can a firewall created by humans be able to block artificial intelligence? Bruce Wayne was even more surprised when he heard Fox say this. You can fit an egg in with your mouth open. He knew that artificial intelligence was powerful, but he didn't expect it to be so powerful. Even the military can't stop it. This made Bruce Wayne so surprised that his jaw almost dropped. What makes Bruce Wayne even more uncomfortable is that he carefully disguised his identity as Batman and was found out so easily. The whole process took less than a minute. To be precise, just over 40 seconds. His actions that he thought were secret were completely discovered tonight. With such richness, it would be no problem to make a movie. He didn't even know when Gotham City had so many surveillance cameras. While Bruce Wayne was in a daze, Jason glanced helplessly at the three stunned people. Bruce, I didn't expect you to actually like to do cosplay. Shouldn't this be something only children like? When Jason said this, the expressions on the three people's faces were a little embarrassed. Chapter 5 Joker, please give me flowers and collect them. After Jason said those words, the air in the entire laboratory became anxious, especially Bruce Wayne, who for some reason has the urge to crawl into the cracks of the ground. After a long time, Bruce Wayne coughed awkwardly and said, Jason, this is not good. I am Batman. How about it? Isn't it cool? Jason rolled his eyes. He didn't expect that Bruce Wayne would struggle with this kind of problem. Although he admired Batman very much, he suddenly felt uninterested. Maybe, but let's get down to business. Who is this? Jason pointed at the screen with his little hand. A pale Joker face appeared on the screen. Seeing this face, Bruce Wayne's expression became serious. This is Joker, a madman, a lawless criminal. Although Jason knows who Joker is, but in order not to be exposed, he still didn't speak and waited for Bruce Wayne to explain. Glancing at Jason, Bruce Wayne slowly explained. Gotham City. It was originally a city of sin. But after he began to transform into Batman in the dark, the security of the entire Gotham City suddenly improved a lot. Just when he was overjoyed with the results he had achieved, an opponent appears. That's Joker. This guy with the Joker face paint. The first time he appeared, he arrogantly robbed a bank and gave the entire positive forces in Gotham City a hard slap. Then it set off a storm of huge amounts of money in Gotham City. Many people have been affected by this storm. As the Asgardian in the darkness of Gotham City, he is naturally no exception. However, Joker is an ordinary person, but he is more difficult to deal with than any person with special abilities he has ever seen. He still couldn't forget the last time he saw Joker. At that time, he was tracking a white powder transaction in the port. With his excellent fighting skills, he has captured several drug dealers and is preparing to hand them over to the law. However, just as he was about to take action, a strange sound came from his ears. Pa. Bruce Wayne turned around sharply. Joker with green hair and a purple tuxedo appeared in the darkness. When Bruce Wayne saw Joker, he immediately wanted to take action. However, Joker's next move stopped him. I wouldn't do that if I were you, Batman. As he spoke, Joker showed his crazy smile. He held a detonation button in his hand and tossed it around. Bruce Wayne's face darkened. Joker is a madman, and he holds a detonator in his hand, which means that he really planted countless bombs around him. He didn't care about the lives of these drug dealers, but there are residential buildings nearby. If Joker planted a bomb there too, it wouldn't be a happy thing for him. And based on what he knew about Joker, it was not surprising at all that Joker would do such a thing. What do you want? Hey. A terrifying laugh burst from Joker's mouth. The body makes several indescribable movements. Joker then spoke. Batman, Let's play a game. I planted 20 bombs near the docks. You need to find them within 5 minutes and take them down. If you can't do it." Before Joker finished speaking, 3 flying darts flew out of Bruce Wayne's shoulder armor. The remote control that was thrown up in Joker's hand shattered. Bruce flew forward, trying to catch Joker. It's just that in addition to Joker's originally high IQ, his own fighting ability is also quite outstanding. Soon he got into a fight with Bruce Wayne, but Bruce Wayne soon gained the upper hand. Just when he was about to defeat Joker, Joker burst into laughter again. Ahem, ha, cough. "Batman, you only have 3 minutes now." Bruce Wayne was shocked when he heard this. He gave Joker a hateful look and started the Batmobile. He wants to use the equipment on the Batmobile to find bombs hidden in the neighborhood. However, he still took a moment to tie Joker here and wait for him to come back before sending him to court. "It was just when I came back here after dismantling the bomb that day." Joker has long since disappeared. Also disappearing were the drug dealers he tied up. In desperation, he could only return to his Wayne group in depression. After listening to Bruce Wayne's explanation, Jason nodded. Although Joker does not have any special abilities, he is definitely the most difficult villain in Gotham City. None of them. The reason why he is more troublesome than others is that Joker is a madman. He doesn't care about the consequences at all. Joker just wants to prove that the world is chaotic and dark, and he doesn't care about anything else. Coupled with the fact that Joker originally had a very high IQ and outstanding knowledge, he could naturally bring huge amounts of trouble to Batman. Looking at the expression on Bruce Wayne's face, Jason knew that he was definitely not relaxed at the moment. "Do you want to find him?" Jason looked at Bruce Wayne and said. "What?" Bruce Wayne was so lost in thought when it came to Joker that he didn't even hear what Jason was saying. "I said you want to find him?" Jason repeated. "Definitely. But Joker is so good at hiding that I can't trace him at all." Bruce Wayne shook his head. "Joker is not just a madman. He is also a criminal with a very high IQ. My original knowledge is very outstanding." He also wanted to use his connections to find Joker in Gotham City, but he was allowed to use all his strength. He still found no trace of Joker. He doesn't think Jason has ability either. Although artificial intelligence is powerful, it still cannot interfere with reality. In addition, Gotham City's infrastructure is very backward, and 40% of the places do not have cameras. There is also a very complicated underground drainage system. If you want to find Joker, even with artificial intelligence, it will be extremely difficult. "Thank you for your kindness, Jason. But Joker is very hidden, so I'm afraid you can't be of much help." "I'll find him myself," Bruce Wayne said with a very determined expression on his face. Seeing him like this, Jason curled his lips. "Courageous, but stupid. How long do you have to wait to find Joker by yourself? You can only wait until someone else commits a crime and then pursue them. This is a missed opportunity." If it weren't for the protagonist's halo, Jason even suspected that Batman might have been killed by the Joker. Besides, Bruce Wayne really underestimates artificial intelligence. Chapter 6. Batman was shocked again. "Please give me flowers and collect them." Looking at Bruce Wayne with a determined face, he didn't know what he was thinking. Jason sighed deeply. "Bruce, you really underestimate artificial intelligence. As long as there is the internet, no one in the world can escape the tracking of artificial intelligence." Upon hearing this, Bruce Wayne smiled. "Jason, I know you mean well, but the situation in Gotham City is complicated." Although Bruce Wayne was very happy that Jason cared about him so much, but he still doesn't think Jason's artificial intelligence can find Joker. Gotham is a deeply twisted city. The most backward and advanced things in the world can be found in this city. Coupled with the rampant crime in Gotham City, citizens take privacy very seriously. The Wayne Group's setup of surveillance cameras has met with great resistance. In many places, there is no monitoring at all. Bruce Wayne believes that if Joker moves on the main road, artificial intelligence may still be able to find him. But once Joker entered the underground sewage system, even gods don't want to find him. Jason glanced at Bruce Wayne, who looked disbelieving, and cursed a bastard in his heart. Before real artificial intelligence appeared, it was difficult for anyone to know what artificial intelligence meant. In the internet, artificial intelligence is God. Any terminal may become part of artificial intelligence control. Unless Joker doesn't have any electronic devices around him, he won't be able to escape the artificial intelligence tracking. Skynet. Turn on unlimited search mode. Artificial intelligence is very powerful. In order to restrict her, Jason even had to set restrictions on her function. Only he himself can unravel it. Unrestricted means that Skynet will use all the internet resources she can use to search for a person. Among them, various private terminals account for the largest proportion. For example, ordinary people's computers, mobile phones, smart bracelets, TVs, etc. will all become the tentacles of artificial intelligence. Its young master, unrestricted mode is on. Skynet's voice just fell. Rays of golden light that looked like living creatures began to shine from the core of the artificial intelligence. In just a few dozen seconds, a translucent screen appeared in front of Jason. Target found. Unrestricted mode turned off. As soon as Dan Wang's voice fell, Several people looked at the translucent screen floating in front of them. A weirdo in a purple suit and green hair was busy with something on the screen. Look at the slightly raised corners of his mouth and his crazy eyes. It is undoubtedly Joker. This is impossible, Bruce Wayne shouted directly. Even the good upbringing he had always had was forgotten by him. He feels that his worldview today is constantly being impacted. He just said with absolute certainty that Jason couldn't find Joker at all. But in the blink of an eye, he was slapped in the face. His mood can be described as very complicated. Jason, how did you do that? Jason glanced at him and said, it's very simple. In just a few dozen seconds, Skynet hijacked all internet-connected electronic devices in Gotham City. Joker was then targeted through these devices. This camera was installed by Joker himself. Oh my god, how is this possible? Fox groaned directly. Gotham City is a giant city with a population of tens of millions, and there are probably billions of electronic devices in it. How is it possible to hijack within tens of seconds? Fox seemed to say this unconsciously. Bruce Wayne was also extremely shocked, looking at the big ball in front of him. Wayne Group also has research involving artificial intelligence projects, but their artificial intelligence couldn't even break through Wayne Manor's network defenses. The gap between the artificial intelligence in Jason's hands is really huge. Bruce Wayne couldn't believe how Jason came up with such a device. Nothing is impossible, Mr. Fox. This is just child's play for artificial intelligence. Let's take a look at Joker's affairs. What is he doing? Jason pointed at the screen. The Joker on the screen looks like he is in a very messy laboratory. On a messy test bench, something was being carefully prepared. But just by looking at the green color, a few people knew that it was not a good thing. Nitrous oxide. Looking at the dose he prepared, I'm afraid it could contaminate the entire Gotham City. Bruce Wayne couldn't care less about being shocked by the artificial intelligence, and said with a very ugly face, Joker's laughing gas is not laughing gas in the conventional sense, but a nerve gas. People who inhale this poisonous gas will laugh until they die. The death was very strange. He had seen Joker use this kind of thing to harm people. Now Joker begins to prepare his unique poison gas again. And behind him, several huge jars dozens of meters high seemed to contain the same thing. Seeing this situation, Bruce Wayne could not bear it anymore. Jason, where is Joker's location? Jason glanced at Bruce Wayne and snapped his fingers. A line of addresses appeared on the screen. 35 120th Street, Harlem. Quickly jotting down the address in his mind, Bruce Wayne decided to set off immediately. Joker is a dangerous person. If he had caught him sooner, fewer people would have been harmed. Alfred, I'm going to catch Joker, and you take Jason to rest. Yes, sir, Alfred replied and said to Jason, Master, it's time for us to rest. Jason glanced at Alfred, showing no intention of resisting. Don't look at this old man pretending to be trembling all day long. It looked like half of his body was in the coffin. But in fact, if you really underestimate him, you will definitely suffer. This old man worked in MI6 when he was young. Even now, dealing with a few lads is no problem. Jason feels that his arms and legs are now small. It's better not to resist. But he was very curious. Batman vs. Joker. This is a scene you can only see in movies. Bruce, I don't think I can go rest now. Joker is so cunning. What if something happens? I'd better stay here to provide you with technical support. Jason, I believe your artificial intelligence is good enough. Now you can go back and rest. After saying a word of concern, Bruce Wayne turned and left without giving Jason a chance to refute. Just as Jason was about to speak again, he saw the expressionless face of Mr. Alfred. Okay, Alfred, I'll go back and rest. Although having said that, Jason was still thinking about how to watch Batman vs. Joker. Chapter 7 Escape. Please give me flowers and collect them. Bruce Wayne speeds through the streets of Gotham City in his Batmobile. Gotham City in the early morning. Basically deserted. Ordinary people would not appear on the streets during this event. The people still roaming the streets today are either drug addicts or people who engage in various illegal and criminal activities. Fortunately, the Batmobile was originally very invisible in the night. No one has found any trace of the Batmobile so far. Speeding all the way, Bruce Wayne soon arrived in Harlem. Harlem is one of the most chaotic areas in Gotham City. All the prosperity of Gotham City seems to have nothing to do with this place. The buildings here are all products of the 1920s. In addition, most of the people living here are African Americans. The level of chaos and poverty can be imagined. Joker chose this kind of place to live. If it weren't for Jason's artificial intelligence, it would be impossible to find him. Near the area near Joker's laboratory, Bruce Wayne got out of the Batmobile and hid in the darkness. Pressed a few keys on the tiny programming computer on my arm. The cameras in the building in front of you are marked. It's obvious that this is Joker's long-term base. The location is very tight. The surveillance video has no blind spots in this small space. According to infrared radiation detection, there are huge amounts of space inside the house, and there are quite a few people inside. They should be the men gathered by Joker. I worked on the computer for a while. A drone flew out from the Batmobile. After flying around the building, There was a three-dimensional drawing of the building on Bruce Wayne's personal computer. Being a superhero also requires using your brain. Bruce Wayne hacked a camera with a device given by the operator Fox. Then he touched the blind spot of the camera toward the inside of the house. First, he went to the security room and controlled several security personnel who were watching the surveillance. Next, Bruce Wayne gradually breaks through. In order not to alert Joker, Bruce Wayne invaded very slowly. In addition, Joker has laid many very insidious traps on his chassis. Bruce Wayne also spent a lot of effort to break these. It took more than an hour to reach the edge of Joker's laboratory. Looking at the door of the laboratory in front of him, Bruce Wayne also breathed a sigh of relief. Remove the equipment above the shoulder armor. Bruce Wayne breaks open the lab door directly. Joker, you can't escape. After posing, Bruce Wayne rushed directly into the laboratory. But it was different from the hard battle full of traps he imagined. There was no one in the laboratory. Seeing this scene, Bruce Wayne's expression changed. Among the architectural drawings detected by drones, there is no other exit from this lab. Just when Bruce Wayne was wondering where Joker was, a monitor of huge amounts in front of him suddenly lit up. Whoa, ha 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 ha. Batman. As expected of Batman, he was able to find this place. I have to say, you are indeed the strongest superhero in Gotham City. It makes me very distressed. Joker, stop pretending. You probably haven't left the building yet. You can't escape this time. With a sneer, Bruce Wayne turned and left. He was going to find this guy out. However, just as he turned around, Joker's crazy voice came from the monitor behind him again. Whoa whoa whoa, Batman. Indeed, you guessed it right. I haven't left yet. But do you dare to come and catch me now? I forgot to tell you, this base will explode in 5 minutes. I think you should be able to save the people in this building, right? Ha 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 ha. Joker smiled maniacally again. Bruce Wayne glanced at him, said nothing, and turned around to leave. Indeed, he was going to save the people inside this building, even though the people here are extremely sinful and unforgivable. But he is still not qualified to judge these people. What he has to do is take these people to court. Therefore, he turned around without any hesitation. And Joker looks at Bruce Wayne looking back. A big smile appeared on his face. At the moment Joker was in a secret room in the laboratory, with only a wall separating him from Batman. Batman, I hope you don't disappoint me. Without you, there will be a lot less fun. Sticking out his scarlet tongue and licking his lips, Joker pressed the self-destruct button in the middle. Turn around and run. Go through the secret passage. In the back. Joker soon arrived at the back of the laboratory. Taking a look at his laboratory, Joker's eyes flashed with pity. Left without any hesitation. But he hasn't taken 2 steps yet. A voice came from behind him. Mr. Joker, nice to meet you. Joker heard this voice without any hesitation. He took out 2 pistols from his suit and turned around and fired several shots. However, apart from a few streaks of fire on the wall, the bullets didn't hit anything else at all. Mr. Joker, this is not the way to treat guests. The voice came from the front again. A cold light flashed in Joker's blood-red eyes. He put away his gun and said in a hoarse voice, "Who are you?" "It doesn't matter who I am. I'm just a small character." Only then did Joker see the source of the sound. It was a drone-like device in midair. The sound came from above. Pretend to be a ghost. Joker drew his gun and shot him twice. However, to his surprise, the drone in midair used a very strange posture to dodge the bullet. Seeing this, Joker also became serious. He is a madman, not a fool. He knew exactly what it meant for a drone to dodge bullets. Ordinary people can't dodge bullets no matter how fast they react, let alone control a drone to dodge bullets. With just such a movement, he knew that the person facing him was not an ordinary person. Clutching the pistol tightly, Joker stared at the drone. "Who are you?" "I said, it doesn't matter who I am. I just want to play a game with Mr. Joker." Hearing this, Joker's eyes flashed with excitement. He stuck out his tongue and licked his scarlet lips, and asked with interest, "What kind of game?" "It's simple. I will be hunting you down for the rest of the day. If you can escape successfully, congratulations, you saved your life. If you can't escape, I think Mr. Joker should know what that means." Well, now the game begins. As soon as the drone finished speaking, a buzzing sound sounded from the surroundings. "I took over this game." Licking his lips, Joker suddenly disappeared. Where Joker stood, there was only a big black hole. Chapter 8 There is no way to heaven and no way to the earth. Please give me flowers and collect them. Crap, you run so fast. Jason punched the pillow hard, with a gloomy expression on his face. He was the person who just talked to Joker. As a loyal Batman fan, how could he not watch this scene of Batman fighting his old enemy? So I went back to the room and sent Mr. Alfred away. He directly used the tablet computer to monitor the scene in Joker's laboratory. In order to prevent Joker from escaping, he also sent out a drone formation sent from Fox. Although Fox is not well known in the country, but as the technical director of Wayne Group, he has quite a lot of black technology in his hands. The armor on Batman is only part of the technology he masters. The drone he used was also the same. The Bat series of drones he developed. The combat effectiveness is even comparable to that of ordinary tactical special teams. The aircraft he was shouting about was a model specially enhanced for speed and sturdiness. He originally wanted to attract Joker's attention with words, and then directly sent a drone team to catch Joker directly. However, Joker is more cunning than he imagined. He obviously realized something was wrong and ran away from the sewer. As expected of a Joker, it's just that it's too simple to escape my surveillance like this. A sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth. Skynet, bring up the three-dimensional diagram of Gotham's drainage system. It's the young master. As soon as Dan Wang finished speaking, a three-dimensional projection occupying most of the room appeared in the room. Jason turned the model of the entire drainage system with his fingers, touched his chin, and said, Skynet, simulate Joker's possible escape route. The power of artificial intelligence goes beyond tracking. It is also possible to anticipate the target's actions to a certain extent. The more information collected, the more accurate this prediction becomes. Based on Joker's psychological analysis and simulation of various data, Skynet can simulate several possible escape routes for Joker. After all, Gotham's sewer system, while massive, is not endless. Tens of seconds later, several thin lines appeared in the sewer model. Master, according to predictions, there is an 80% chance that Joker will appear in the sewer kingdom of Gotham City. Jason's eyes narrowed as he looked at the map. Gotham City is a huge port city. Because there are frequent heavy rains, Gotham City's drainage system is very developed. Almost the entire city's underground is being hollowed out, forming a massive sewer system. This has become a hideout for Gotham City. Many criminals who were unable to live on the surface after being attacked by Batman went underground. In the sewer system, someone dug out a huge underground space. In this huge amount of space, there are black markets, various buildings, gangs, and all kinds of desperate desperados. This place is called the Underground Kingdom by these people. If Joker wants to hide, this is indeed a treasure place. There are no surveillance cameras in the sewers. Jason looked at the projected map with a smile on his face. There are indeed no cameras underground, but there is the internet, and there are all kinds of electronic devices that various people bring in. There are many shops in the black market that deal with all kinds of illegal goods, and these can all become Skynet's spies. An ordinary mobile phone can not only become a camera, but also a recorder to analyze voice separates. Unless Joker enters deep mountains and old forests and other areas without network coverage, he wants to escape Skynet's surveillance. Almost impossible. Skynet, monitor all equipment in the Underground Kingdom and monitor Joker's traces. Yes, Master. Skynet answered and then became silent. But Jason knows that at the moment, the entire Underground Kingdom and all electronic equipment have become his spies. After about 10 minutes, Skynet's voice sounded again. Master, we found traces of Joker. Joker entered the Underground Kingdom through entrance number 214. Skynet said as he cast a projection from midair. The screen shows a man wearing a white mask. Master, Joker has been disguised. Skynet said this. A picture of one was projected again, and the similarities between the two were also marked. Only then did Jason see the similarities between the two. As expected of Joker, so cunning. If Skynet hadn't marked him out, Jason would have really believed that the guy in the white mask in front of him was Joker. It seems that this guy is not only talented in chemistry, but also very powerful in disguise. It's just such a pity that he met artificial intelligence. Jason shook his head sadly. Artificial intelligence can't only make achievements in transformation. It is also very powerful in various analyses, like a comparative analysis of these two pictures. As long as there is a little bit of similarity, artificial intelligence can analyze it. No matter how similar they are in disguise, people's little habits are different. Everyone has their own micro-movements. These are very difficult to change. Artificial intelligence can analyze the true identities of these people through these tiny movements. Shaking his head, Jason spoke directly. Send out a drone team and surround him. Game over. He is not as kind as Batman. In order to stick to the justice and bottom line in his heart, he can be so tolerant to these extremely evil people. If Joker is caught by him, there will only be one end. That is death. 10 minutes passed quickly. Under the direction of Skynet, no one quickly arrived at the Underground Kingdom. In silent mode, Joker is slowly surrounded. At this moment, Joker is still unaware. Wait until the drone circle is formed. Jason once again controlled a drone and entered the cave where Joker was. There are also buildings in the Underground Kingdom, but they are very small and dark. Fortunately, the drone has an infrared mode, which allows Jason to see the scene inside. Mr. Joker. As soon as Jason said something, several bullets flew towards him. Look at the bullets that gradually enlarge on the screen. Jason also broke out in a cold sweat. Good thing he didn't go looking for Joker himself. Otherwise, even with the body of his cheap dad Batman, he might be beaten into pieces. Calm down, Jason said over the drone again. Mr. Joker, I think you should calm down. As Jason spoke, he controlled several drones to emerge from the shadows. Seeing this mecha drone, even Joker froze. Several drones had dark automatic rifles hanging under them, and one had a bunch of grenades hanging under them. Joker considers himself a madman, but he still doesn't dare to move at all. He didn't want to die with a pile of scrap metal. Looking at Joker on the screen, Jason smiled. At the moment Joker can really be regarded as having no way to heaven and no way to earth. Chapter 9 Sophistry. Please give me flowers and collect them. It's not a good feeling to be pointed at a gun, especially a loaded automatic rifle. It's hard for anyone to stay calm when a cold black hole is pointing a gun at you. However, among these people doesn't include Joker. Rather than saying that Joker is a human being, it is better to say that he is an extremely twisted soul. His existence seems to be to prove that there is no light in the world. He is the representative of darkness. Joker was already dead when he was tortured by his father. And what is alive is just a twisted soul. A dead man is naturally not afraid of death. Joker can still laugh when being pointed at by several cold automatic rifles. Wow, you really went to great lengths to catch me. Let me guess who you are? Falcone, or a member of the Maroney family? No. They don't have such technology. Are you from the Wayne family? Joker said to himself nervously while smiling. Completely disregard a few drones loaded with these murderous weapons as nothing. Mr. Joker, you do know a lot. But you haven't touched the essence. In Gotham City, the Wayne family is not the only one who masters advanced technology, Jason said mysteriously. Although Joker will definitely die today, he still doesn't want to reveal his identity. Both DC and Marvel are equally dangerous worlds. Not to mention the superposition of the two. There were really monsters everywhere. And there were as many gods as dogs. What if someone else knows his identity, or kidnaps him because of his cleverness? There are too many magical powers in this world, even Mephitis has them. Jason thought it would be better for him to keep a low profile. Therefore, he directly prepared to hide his identity and pass the blame to others. Sure enough, Joker became interested when he heard what he said. Are you from Stag? Stag is another large high-tech company in Gotham City. Stark Industries is to Gotham City what Stark Industries is to New York City. Very powerful. He's just an out-and-out arms dealer, and it goes even further than Stark Industries, often arresting people for human experiments in secret. Don't compare me to those arms dealers from Stag, Jason said, pretending to be unhappy. Wow, sir. It seems you have a great background. Joker made an exaggerated expression and an exaggerated smile appeared on his face. Joker, you don't have to act crazy. It won't do me any good. I know you very well. Before you started committing crimes, you were just an ordinary person, and you were an ordinary person who was rejected by your parents. Am I right? Mr. Jack, that's enough. Stop talking. The smile on Joker's face suddenly disappeared, and he looked at the drone fiercely. Jason smiled behind the monitor. Everyone has their own bottom line. For example, Joker is most taboo about others telling him his true identity and his parents. Freeze's Achilles heel is his wife. Everyone has weaknesses, including crazy people. It turns out that a madman like you can also be angry. I thought you were just a madman, Jason said sarcastically. Joker said nothing, looked at the drone hard, and looked around. It's like looking for Jason, more like looking for a way to leave. Mr. Joker, don't think about escaping. I can tell you, you're dead today. I'm not as pedantic as Batman. Joker looked around and showed his signature crazy smile again. Wow. Who did I think you were? Turns out you're another pathetic guy who thinks he's righteous. Ah, Jason laughed. Maybe, I'm a wretch, aren't you? Compared to you, at least I have a harmonious family. Joker's eyebrows jumped when he heard this. If it weren't for the drone, Joker felt that he would have used the most cruel punishment in the world to deal with the man in front of him. However, he quickly controlled his emotions. Wow, what a righteous tone. But the justice you worship is just a disgusting skin. Okay, Mr. Joker, there's no need to preach your story. The fact that you have been treated unfairly is no excuse for you to be cynical. Some people can still become messengers of justice even if they see their parents being shot. You are just looking for a high-sounding excuse for your own selfishness and to satisfy your own twisted desires. The difference between you and me is that I can control my desires, but you are just a slave to them. What's more, compared to the Court of Owls, you are just a minor role. Jason's tone was full of sarcasm. He does look down on Joker. If it weren't for his extraordinary IQ, Joker would be just an ordinary psychopath. His tragic experience is no excuse for him to take revenge on society. Ha, your justice is just. Joker still wanted to argue nonchalantly. Stop it, Mr. Joker, I'm afraid you don't even know what the Court of Owls is, do you? The sins you boast about are not that outstanding. Jason sneered. Gotham is not called Sin City because of a few super ability criminals. The Court of Owls hidden deep in the city and many criminal organizations are the root of the birth of Gotham's evil. Even Wayne Group was once part of this behind-the-scenes group. Without Batman, Joker would really just be a Joker who wreaks havoc. Okay, Mr. Joker. Do you have any last words? If you don't have it, I will send you to meet your god. Oh, no, people like you will definitely go to hell. By the way, let me tell you, whether you believe it or not, hell actually exists. Sir, I don't think we have any essential conflict. I think we can still talk. I can give you a lot of money, Joker said while laughing. Although he is not afraid of death, it does not mean that he wants to die. There's a lot he hasn't accomplished yet. He hasn't defeated Batman yet. He can't die. The stolen money, Jason said sarcastically. Okay, Mr. Joker, if you do something, be prepared to suffer the consequences. I think what you committed is enough to sentence you to death. Although there is no such punishment in Gotham City, it is just a way out for themselves by these guys who made the law. I don't have that argument here. Don't worry, it won't be painful. With that said, Jason started the drone without saying a word. But to his surprise, his drone didn't move at all. The lethal poison bullets in the muzzle were not ejected from the muzzle at all. How can it be? Jason muttered to himself. Chapter 10 Confrontation. Please give me flowers and collect them. In a dark and narrow underground space, several dark drones floated in the air, making creaking sounds. Opposite him, Joker, wearing purple clothes, had a crazy smile on his face. How can it be? Sir, with the help of your words, nothing is impossible. Ha 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 ha. Listening to Joker's wild laughter, a trace of solemnity flashed across Jason's face. As expected of Joker, Gotham City's most feared villain, with a mortal body, he has accomplished many things that super ability villains cannot do. It's really not that simple to kill him. Skynet, scan and analyze. Although the drone cannot move, it can still transmit video signals. He could still see the effects of the drone's transmission. It shouldn't be a device that directly destroys machinery. Taking advantage of Skynet's scanning, Joker spoke again. Sir, although you are not here personally, I think we can still talk. What do you want to talk about? Jason said. Joker's ability to confuse people is very strong. He actually didn't want to talk to Joker. But being idle is also idle. I want to know what the Court of Owls is. Joker's eyes flashed. As one of the top villains in Gotham City, he knows organizations both big and small in Gotham City. But he had never heard of the Court of Owls. And according to what everyone said, the Court of Owls is still a very powerful organization. This made him very interested. Is there an organization more evil than him in Gotham City? When Jason heard this, he let out a laugh in the drone. It turns out you are curious about something. I thought the madman only had destruction in his mind. No, sir, you misunderstood. It's just my art that you don't understand. How about we make a deal? The price of these drones should be very high, as long as you tell me about the Court of Owls. How about I just let these little things go? Joker licked his scarlet lips and said very excitedly. Hearing Joker's words, Jason laughed in his heart. These drones are indeed very expensive. Each one costs several $1,000,000, not counting R&D costs. However, this thing is just a drop in the bucket for Wayne Group. The Wayne family doesn't care about this money at all. Joker's wishful thinking was wrong. Joker, don't think about it, I won't tell you. Besides, it's just a strong electromagnetic restraint device. I really don't think I can do anything about it. Jason said via drone. Joker is truly a joker. A highly intelligent criminal genius. This kind of thing can be made. Although the main body of the drone is mostly made of carbon fiber, there is still a metal structure inside. Nature is bound by magnetic fields. However, this does not trouble him. Jason worked on the tablet a few times. A few dazzling electric lights flashed on the drone in the underground space, and then it resumed activity. However, Joker is not an easy person to get along with either. As early as when an abnormality occurred on the drone, Joker took action. Two hands from behind the vest were pulled out directly from behind. The pistol in his hand kept firing, and the drone not only fell from midair. Seeing the impact from the drone, Jason's jaw almost dropped to the ground. The underground space is very dark. If it weren't for the infrared camera on the drone, nothing would be visible to the naked eye. Not to mention the black protective color at the drone. It was under this circumstance that Joker shot down almost all the mobile drones. It relies on the flash of lightning from the drone. There was also the sound of propellers in midair. Jason was shocked. It is true that Joker does not have super abilities, but this is not something ordinary people can do. What is the difference between this and having super ability? Sure enough, God treats some people favorably. Even if he has a high IQ, his physical fitness is also so good. Snap, snap, snap. Jason applauded Joker very sincerely. As expected, Mr. Joker, with such strength, even the special forces of the Navy SEALs are nothing more than this. No, Joker bowed. At the moment, Joker is completely like a personable gentleman, not like a lunatic at all. Now, sir, can we have a word? Joker said very elegantly. Elegance and crazy temperament are integrated in him, without any abruptness at all. But Jason shook his head regretfully. Mr. Joker, I'm afraid not yet. Why? Joker asked very confused. I don't seem to understand why Jason said that. Snapped. Jason snapped his fingers, and dozens of drones flew out of the darkness again. The muzzle of the black hole was pointed at Joker again. Do you understand now? Jason controlled the drone and said condescendingly, facing Joker, he won't relax. The lion fights the rabbit with all his strength. Besides, Joker is not a harmless little white rabbit. Naturally, he had to use his full strength. He sent out 100 drones. Almost all of Bruce Wayne's infantry. What Joker faced was only a small part. Joker felt a little twitchy when he saw these dense drones. Big dog owner. I scolded this unknown guy hard in my heart. This kind of drone that can carry an automatic rifle and withstand strong recoil is very expensive. A few $1,000,000 at least. How many banks can he rob once? Tens of millions at most. But the drone in front of him is worth at least hundreds of millions. The expression on Joker's face became even more distorted. It seems that you are going to great lengths to deal with me. No. These are just fractions, not much money, Jason said in a relaxed tone. He spent billions just developing artificial intelligence. This is still after mastering the specific technology. Fortunately, his cheap guy is rich. Otherwise, it would be basically impossible for him to develop artificial intelligence. These are really just scraps. Hearing this, Joker's expression became distorted again. These rich people are nothing. What are you doing now, Mr. Joker? Your strong magnetic restraint device probably has no energy. In a poor place like the Underground Kingdom, I don't think you have much usable energy. I wonder what other trump cards you have. If you don't take it out now, I'm afraid you won't have a chance. Hearing Jason's words, Joker lowered his head. After a while, his body began to twitch, then burst out into a high-pitched laughter. Ha 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 ha. Jason looked at Joker, who was laughing wildly, confused. Chapter 11: The Death of Joker. Please give me flowers and collect them. In the dark space, the penetrating laughter continued to echo in the small space. Jason's back felt numb. Why are you laughing? Jason asked a little strangely. Surrounded by nearly 100 drones, it is basically impossible for Joker to escape. Jason couldn't figure out what trump card Joker had to escape from here. Joker kept laughing wildly. After a while it stopped. Even because of his wild laughter, Joker coughed a few times, as if he was choking. Wait until Joker looks up. Joker's eyes were already full of blood red, and the expression on his face was abnormally distorted, looking very scary. The Joker grimace on his face appears to be shape-shifting due to distortion. What am I laughing at? I'm laughing that I would be forced to this point by an unknown person. Batman didn't do either. Licking his scarlet lips again, Joker still wanted to say something. However, he was interrupted by Jason. Joker, are these your last words? Last words? No, no, no. I don't think you're going to kill me. Joker laughed provocatively. Joker's eyes were full of provocation. It was as if it wasn't him but Jason who was facing the dilemma. Jason looked at Joker on the screen. There was a sigh in my heart. Joker is indeed a Joker, and his mental quality is indeed strong. With dozens of guns pointed at his face, he could still talk and laugh like this. And this madman does have arrogance. The reason why madmen are scary, it's because this kind of person doesn't consider the consequences at all and doesn't care about his own life. Joker is the best among lunatics. After living in Gotham City for so long, he has nothing to do, so he certainly has the capital. Mr. Joker, to be honest, I actually admire you a little. As a villain, you have truly achieved the ultimate in villainy. This kind of bottomless madness that doesn't care about other people's lives is really terrifying. When Joker heard this, a bright smile appeared on his face. Thank you for the compliment. Can I go now? Joker glanced at the drone provocatively. I'm sorry Mr. Joker, you can't leave now. I do admire your courage, but I'm afraid you can't leave today. I don't think the preparations you made in Gotham can save your life. Hearing this, Joker raised his head and glanced at Jason with scarlet eyes. Don't you care about the millions of lives lost in Gotham City? There are also people from the Underground Kingdom. Although they are all scum, they are also living beings, aren't they? Joker smiled evilly, his eyes full of mockery. Hey, Mr. Joker, it seems you misunderstood something. I'm not Batman. Jason shook his head. The reason why Joker is so rampant is because of his preparation. He installed over-the-top devices in many places in Gotham City. What's inside is the deadly poison gas he developed. Nitrous oxide. I'm afraid if anything happens to Joker, these devices scattered throughout Gotham City will be opened. Deadly laughing gas will spread throughout Gotham. Countless people will die, especially in the Underground Kingdom. As long as Joker turns on the device, tens of thousands of criminals here may die directly. If it were Batman here, he would definitely take action. Get out of here obediently. But he's not Batman. Joker misunderstood his strength and his position. He wasn't going to let Joker go just because of the threat. What's more, Joker's stuff can't be written about him. Mr. Joker, I repeat, I am not Batman. You really don't care about these people's lives? Joker said with some surprise. Soon he laughed again. You can't scare me. Even if I die, I will let Gotham City be buried with me. With that said, Joker was so decisive that he took out a detonator from his pocket. He pressed it decisively. After a while, the entire Underground Kingdom is still silent. Nothing happened. Impossible. Joker's expression also changed drastically. As a highly intelligent criminal genius, he rarely loses his temper like this. But now, Joker couldn't help it anymore. His trump card didn't work. Looking at the stunned Joker, Jason said lightly, "Nothing is impossible, Mr. Joker. It seems that your capital is not that useful." As early as when he discovered that Joker was abnormal, Jason had already started working. First, the electromagnetic shielding device on the drone was used to block all electrical signals. Unless Joker uses old anti-quire transmission technology. Otherwise, no signal can be transmitted from here. Plus Skynet's search. The three-dimensional map of Gotham City next to it is full of dense red dots. Above is the location of the laughing gas storage device set up by Joker. As long as the drone is dispatched, these devices can be dealt with immediately. Mr. Joker, I'm still more skilled. Jason smiled and pressed the fire button regardless of whether Joker replied or not. sparks shot out from the gun in the drone. Joker didn't sit still. His body kept shaking, and the pistol in his hand was replaced with a new magazine. Empty in the blink of an eye. More than 24 drones fell directly from the sky. Jason's mouth twitched as he watched this scene. Although the automatic rifle mounted on the drone is less powerful than an ordinary automatic rifle, but it is definitely more powerful than an ordinary pistol. Hit someone. That's just a big hole. A shot to the limbs directly cripples him, and a shot to the main torso will almost certainly kill him. Joker was shot at least 4 or 5 times. The purple suit was dyed blood, coupled with the deadly toxin injection device inserted into the body. Logically speaking, he should just die. But just dragging his body like this, he shot down more than 20 drones. Even if there is no sign of life, his body was also leaning against the wall, eyes wide open. It makes Jason feel like he is the villain. Half a day later, Jason said with a sigh, as expected of a Joker, I'm afraid many people with special abilities don't have this kind of power. Shaking his head, Jason no longer felt sorry for this vicious person. After sending out its own drone, it was determined that Joker had completely lost signs of life. Jason controlled his drone and cremated Joker's body directly. He breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Joker's body turned into a handful of ashes. A feeling of exhaustion emanates from the heart. Although he did not reach here physically, even through the drone, he could also feel the substantial pressure that Joker brought to him. All I can say is that Joker is a villain, but he is indeed a talent. Shaked his head. Let Skynet control the drone to dismantle the laughing gas device. He went directly back to the bedroom to rest. Chapter 12 Shocked Batman. Please give me flowers and collect them. Jason and Joker battle wits and courage. He even directly killed this Gotham City villain. Batman is not idle here either. After learning that Joker planted a bomb in the laboratory, Batman can only let Joker escape, turn around and defuse the bomb. Although Joker's men are all kinds of scum, it can be said that he was full of evil and almost killed people in his hands. But in his eyes, no matter how sinful these people are, we cannot allow others to deprive them of their lives. We can only hand them over to the court for trial. He would save Joker, let alone these people. So he let Joker go and chose to save others. However, after defusing the bomb, he ran into trouble. There really aren't many Joker men who can fight. But Joker's pets are very troublesome. I don't know how Joker was raised. Wolfdog in the laboratory. Not only is it large in size, but it also has strong attack power and extremely flexible. The Czech wolfdog with red eyes is probably no worse than a real wild wolf. Under the attack of these wolfdogs, his stab-proof armor was actually tongue, and there were a few more holes in his body. He pursues a flexible fighting style. This means that there is no way he can wear a full body plate armor like Iron Man. Although some of his bat armors have high technological content, but Batman doesn't often wear these equipment. The most commonly used armor is ordinary armor, which cannot stop these beasts at all. After roughly treating the wound, Bruce Wayne rushed to the manor in the Batmobile. However, he met an unexpected person on the road. Looking at the motorcycle waiting sideways in front of the Batmobile, Batman's brows furrowed involuntarily. Catwoman, why are you stopping me? I don't want to cause trouble for you now, but if you insist on doing this, I can only send you to jail. Batman looked at the charming woman in front of him and felt a little worried. Catwoman is a character who is both good and evil. Although she often steals things, the amount is huge. Absolutely guilty. But this guy also has a kind side and has helped many people. He had nothing to do and didn't want to face this woman who was full of trouble. Batman, you are indeed a heartless man. Have you forgotten what happened before? Catwoman said pitifully. Batman only felt a headache. Even though Catwoman is acting so pitiful now, she really wants to take action. She won't show any mercy. He suffered a lot at the hands of this woman last time. Catwoman, what do you want to do? Bruce Wayne said coldly. At the same time, he put on a defensive posture, ready to take action at any time. Catwoman rolled her eyes at him and said, you really don't understand the mood. I came to tell you information with good intentions, but you want to deal with me. Catwoman looked at Bruce Wayne with a look on her face that said you don't know how to be charming. But Bruce Wayne's heart didn't waver at all. 2 words came out of his mouth. He. Catwoman gave him an angry look. HMPH, now I think I should ask you for some reward before giving you the things. What exactly do you want to give me? Bruce Wayne frowned. He didn't think Catwoman would find him when she had nothing to do. Batman's identity is not as attractive as Bruce Wayne's. I just want to tell you some news. News about Joker. Bruce Wayne frowned, as if considering whether Catwoman's words could be trusted. Explain. After a long time, Bruce Wayne spoke. Now I'm not going to give you this information for free. I want $500,000. Don't worry, this information is definitely worth the price. Bruce Wayne glanced at Catwoman. It changed hands and transferred $500,000 to Catwoman. This little money is just drizzle to him. Even if Catwoman lied to him, the loss would not be big. Now you can say it. Catwoman glanced at her phone, a hint of joy flashing in her eyes. How generous, Batman. Catwoman blew a kiss to Bruce Wayne and became a little impatient to see him. Then he spoke. I came to you to tell you something. You don't have to worry about Joker anymore. He is dead. What? This is impossible, Bruce Wayne said in shock, not even noticing the open wounds on his body. How could Joker die if he is so cunning? I don't know, but he is indeed dead. I still have evidence here. With that said, Catwoman threw over a USB flash drive. Then he blew a kiss to Bruce Wayne and rode away on his motorcycle. Bruce Wayne looked at Catwoman leaving and was not in the mood to cause trouble for Catwoman. He hurriedly entered the Batmobile, plugging the USB drive into the car computer. Bruce Wayne stared at the screen. After a while, the image of the car appeared on the computer. Because it is a scene captured by an infrared camera, the video looks a bit washed out. But Bruce Wayne recognized Joker immediately. Then he saw the drone confronting Joker. Immediately his pupils shrank. He could naturally recognize that it was a product of Wayne Group. He also used it more than once. It's just that he doesn't like hiding behind the scenes, so these things were eliminated by him. Then, there were these drones that he eliminated. He was actually confronting Joker, and Joker seems to be at a disadvantage. This shocked him. Who is it? How did he control Wayne Group's drones? Is it Alfred? No, Alfred wouldn't do such a thing. Is it Fox? That's not right. It's impossible for Fox to control the drone to this extent. Bruce Wayne thought about it for a long time, but he never thought that anyone could control these drones so naturally. After simply watching the video, he directly dialed Fox's phone number. Mr. Wayne, don't you know that disturbing an old man's rest is extremely excessive? Fox's somewhat annoyed voice came from the phone. Bruce Wayne had no interest in arguing with Fox, so he asked directly. Has anyone in the group used the drones? Drones? You mean the ones you eliminated? Fox asked. Yes, those are the ones. Bruce Wayne confirmed directly. Didn't Jason get transferred? Didn't he tell you? Fox asked a little strangely. Jason. This is impossible. Bruce Wayne lost his composure and shouted directly on the phone. It's true that Jason was transferred. What's wrong, Mr. Wayne? What happened? Fox asked. It's okay, Fox, you can rest. With a casual remark, Bruce Wayne hung up the phone. However, the expression on his face was extremely complicated. Chapter 13, What is it like to have a genius son? Please give me flowers and collection. Bruce Wayne and the Batmobile. At the moment, the Batmobile is traveling quickly through the streets of Gotham City. The indicator is nothing. At the moment his mind was not on driving at all. Just watch the video and he'll know. That was definitely Jason's handiwork. Whether it's the uniform formation of drones or the graceful operation method, none of this is possible for humans. Only artificial intelligence can perform such precise operations. And in Gotham City, the only artificial intelligence is in the hands of his son. But even with the help of artificial intelligence, killing Joker is not that simple. Joker is a very difficult enemy. He battled wits and courage for several months, but failed to kill this guy. But it only took one night. This criminal whom he regarded as his lifelong enemy, he died at the hands of his son. This made him feel a little shocked and a little uncomfortable at the same time. There is both the old father's satisfaction in watching his son grow up, and his own sadness at being surpassed by his son. Having a genius son is stressful. Think about yourself in Gotham City doing chivalry for many years. I battled wits and courage with Joker every day, and even got scars all over my body. The result is not as much as Jason achieved in one night. How does this make him face his son? In the future, when he brags, he will tell his son about his great achievements. The result was not as outstanding as what he did casually. How could this make him feel so embarrassed? When he thought of this, Bruce Wayne felt a little frustrated. But Bruce Wayne soon put these useless emotions out of his mind. Then a smile flashed across his usually serious face. My son is truly a genius. After a silly smile, he accidentally pulled the wound, causing Bruce Wayne's mouth to twitch in pain. Shit. With a curse, Bruce Wayne drove the Batmobile quickly towards Wayne Manor. The next day, early in the morning, after eating breakfast served by the loyal old butler, Jason is ready to experience the corrupt life of capitalists. Although the body is not fully developed yet, it is good to go and see it for eye candy. However, Jason had just finished breakfast. I saw my own advantage. Bruce Wayne. Jason, we need to talk. Bruce Wayne sat across from Jason and said, Bruce, what do you want to talk about? Wiping his mouth, Jason looked at Bruce Wayne and said. Taking a deep look at Jason, Bruce Wayne had a bright smile on his face. Jason, you are a genius. You are the greatest genius I have ever seen. Not even Tony Stark has achieved such an achievement at your age. Bruce Wayne wants to say something else, only to be interrupted by Jason. Bruce, I know I'm a genius. Can you say something valuable? I still have to do an experiment. Bruce Wayne felt a lump in his chest when he heard this. This kid is good at everything, but he's so annoying. He took a deep breath and suppressed his urge to spank the child. Jason, remember, since you have such ability, don't let it go. We have extraordinary abilities, and we must make good use of them. Don't let power blind you. Bruce Wayne stared into Jason's eyes and said. Jason frowned when he heard Bruce Wayne's words. Do you know what happened last night? That's right. Bruce Wayne nodded. Then you think what I did was wrong? Exactly the opposite. Bruce Wayne said in a relaxed tone. You killed Joker and all Gotham City should be grateful to you. I just want to say that you must not be blinded by power. Killing Joker is very easy, but it's not easy to be yourself. I never believe that pure killing can bring justice. You have to remember that. Bruce Wayne gave Jason a deep look. Okay Jason, you can think about these words slowly. Go ahead and enjoy your life. You've been working for months. It's time to take a break. This month, You are not allowed to enter the laboratory again." After saying these words to Jason, Bruce Wayne turned and left. Jason looked at Bruce Wayne's back thoughtfully. After a long time, Jason shook his head. Bruce Wayne thought he was a kid. This can be regarded as concern from Batman. Smiling and shaking his head, Jason turned and left the restaurant. Get ready to experience life. However, as soon as he went out, he was blocked at the door. The person who came was none other than Fox, the chief technical director of Wayne Group. His eyes lit up when he saw Jason. "Hey Jason, good boy, come here." Fox strode over and ravaged Jason's little face before speaking. "Jason, did you develop Skynet's technology entirely yourself?" "Definitely," Jason said directly and shamelessly. "Doesn't what the system gives him belong to him? Besides, he has mastered all these techniques, but they are not original." He said he developed it himself. "Is there any problem?" "Jason, you're a genius." "Tony Stark is an egomaniac who is not as powerful as you at your age," Fox praised with an exaggerated expression. The expression was like a woman seeing a file-sized diamond in a dinosaur egg. When Jason heard this, he felt like laughing. Tony Stark was also unlucky. Two people were comparing him to him today. But Tony Stark is the Bald Eagle Empire's most famous genius. These two people compared him to Tony Stark, which shows that they really think he is a genius. But a moment later, Jason looked at the seemingly innocent smile on Fox's face, and his heart was filled with vigilance. "Our ancestors said it well. If you show courtesy for nothing, you will either commit adultery or steal." Fox is a collaborator of the Wayne family, not a slave of the Wayne family. There is absolutely no need to kneel down and lick him, the heir of the Wayne family. Then he now licked him with such grandiosity. Undoubtedly, there is only one reason. The old man had designs on him. Therefore, the expression on Jason's face became more alert. "Fox, just tell me what you want to do. After all, we are all our own people." Jason looked at him a little thoughtfully and said seriously. Hearing this, Fox's face flashed with joy. "Yes, we are our own people, so I'll just say it." "Jason, do you have any plans to sell your technology?" Jason looked at Fox in disbelief when he heard this, as if he had heard something unbelievable. Chapter 14 More money is needed. Please give me flowers and collect them. Jason stared at Fox with a look of disbelief on his face. His eyes were full of disbelief. Seeing Jason's expression, Fox felt a little embarrassed and even a little guilty. "Jason, although we are our own people, Wayne Group will definitely give you a satisfactory price. We initially estimate that the basic technical information alone can give a price of tens of billions." Fox said this without any confidence. Even if he applies himself to others, Fox himself feels that these words are a bit excessive. If it were him, someone came to him and wanted to acquire the technology that he had spent a lot of effort developing, he would also be in disbelief. And that's even with such a low bid. This is artificial intelligence. If promoted, it can bring about earth-shaking changes to the world and change the technological changes of the entire human race. Not to mention the Bionic quantum state service array technology developed by Jason. There are even prototypes of quantum computers. This can drastically change the entire world. Thinking of this, Fox also felt that the price he offered was a bit low. Jason looked at Fox, who looked increasingly guilty, and said hoarsely, "Fox, Skynet is my hard work. I researched these technologies day and night without rest or sleep. Skynet is even equivalent to my child." Fox heard Jason say this. His face became even more embarrassed. If it weren't for the protective ability of his skin color, his face would definitely be redder than a monkey's butt right now. But he just wanted to speak. Just heard Jason speak. "You have to pay more." "What?" Fox asked in shock. "I said that technology can be sold, but you have to pay more," Jason said with a serious face. "Technology is something that is meant to be sold. When science and technology are invented, they inherently carry various meanings. Not for fame, but for profit." Jason never meant to keep his skills in his hands forever. As long as Fox can provide the money, he dares to sell. However, he doesn't think Fox can afford this value. Existing Wayne Group, even if you buy his skills, your vitality will be severely damaged. Not worth it at all. As expected, Fox said with a grimace. "Jason, Wayne Group simply can't generate that much cash flow. We can't afford your technology." When he said this, Fox's face was full of sorrow and anger. "It feels like there is a lively beauty in front of you and you really can't unbutton your belt." That feeling was full of powerlessness. "It's okay, I expected it. We can change the way of cooperation. Besides, I can't sell all the technology. How do you think we should work together?" Fox was shocked and said, "Wayne Group can exchange some goods in kind and only need some cash." "Definitely. I want something that doesn't belong to our Wayne family." "Fox, you know what I mean." Jason wanted to pat Fox on the shoulder in an old-fashioned way, but unfortunately he found that he was not tall enough. He could only put his hands behind his back calmly. "This is okay too," Fox said happily. As for Jason's last words, he also knew it. Although the Wayne Group is run by the Wayne family, but the Wayne family only held the majority of the shares. There are other shares that are other people's shares. They are all powerful families or companies in Gotham City, or even in the entire Bald Eagle Empire. It is this way of cross-holding. These big families have mastered wealth that is difficult for ordinary people to achieve, but they don't look that rich on the surface. Wayne Group also has several other major shareholders. The relationship between these people and the Wayne family is not very good either. It's normal for Jason to think about his family. As for him, he is also a loyal subordinate of the Wayne family faction. Even if Jason doesn't say so, he will do it. Thinking of this, Fox reminded Jason, I think it would be better if you just sell some basic knowledge. For example, some basic materials, chip manufacturing, etc. It's best not to let others control things like artificial intelligence. You are still young and there are some things you don't understand. Hearing what Fox said, Jason glanced at the old man with satisfaction. He is indeed a loyal confidant who can build Bruce Wayne's armor. You can say this kind of thing, so it is reliable to leave this matter to him. Thinking of this, Jason's words immediately changed. Grandpa Fox, you're a friend of our Wayne family. I can rest assured that I can leave this matter to you. You don't have to worry about anything else. When Fox heard this, he glanced at Jason. I thought to myself, that's not what you said just now. Sure enough, he is Bruce Wayne's son, he can really fool him. After thinking for a long time, Fox, the old fox, said this. Jason, don't worry, I won't let you suffer. There are several pieces of equipment in Wayne Group's laboratory that I think you must want. I'll get it for you. Then thank you Grandpa Fox, Jason said with a sweet smile. Wayne Group's laboratory has a lot of hard work from the second largest shareholder of Wayne Group. Jason is very satisfied with this reward. The little fox and the old fox looked at each other. Their eyes were full of smiles. A few days later, Wayne Group held a press conference. The technology department of Wayne Group has made huge amounts of breakthroughs in chips and systems. I want to declare war with the two giants Intel and Microsoft in one fell swoop. Suddenly it caused an uproar in the Bald Eagle Empire. Many businesses have heard the news. This naturally includes Stark Technology in New York. At the moment, Tony Stark has not yet experienced the disaster of being captured. He is still the narcissistic playboy that everyone hates. Tony Stark frowned when he saw the news in the newspaper. What the hell is the Wayne Group doing that you dare to post this kind of news? I haven't made a breakthrough in this area yet, so why should they? Wayne Group? It's probably just bragging again to deceive investors. Throwing the newspaper on the sofa with disdain, Tony Stark looked at the blonde beauty next to him. Okay my beauty, let's not worry about that hypocrite Bruce Wayne. Let's cherish this beautiful moment. As he spoke, Tony Stark picked up the blonde beauty and walked towards the bedroom. The newspaper was trampled directly under his feet. At the moment, Jason naturally didn't know that because of him, Wayne Group was defamed by an arrogant genius. He also didn't expect that he would soon have an intersection with this genius who was often mentioned. Chapter 15 Arrogant Tony, please give me flowers and collection. Jason's life has been very nourishing these past 2 days. Gotham is a sin city, but that's for the poor. While the rich wine and the meat smell, the road with frozen bone. This is especially evident in Gotham. For wealthy people like Jason, Gotham is paradise. If he wanted something, as long as he had enough money, someone would find it for him. This makes Jason feel quite happy and unwilling to forget about the past. But on this day, Jason's happy life was interrupted by the old butler. Master Jason, have you seen Master? Alfred asked Jason while holding an invitation. I don't know. Maybe he went out to do justice again. It's normal that he can't be found. Oh. It looks like this beautiful invitation is going to the trash can again. Shrugging helplessly, Alfred threw the invitation on the table. Grandpa Alfred, who gave this invitation? Oh, the military is going to issue capstone awards again this year, and we, the Wayne family, are invited to take a look. It's just that Bruce usually doesn't go to this kind of thing. Jason also nodded when he heard this. That's right. Bruce Wayne is an absolute nerd. Even if you are participating in an event, you are participating in an event originally from Gotham City. He will basically not participate in other activities of the Bald Eagle Empire. This also makes the Wayne family, although very powerful, not famous in the Bald Eagle Empire. Far less famous than companies like Stark Industries and Osborn Industries. Bruce Wayne is also famously low-key. There is basically no news about him from the outside world. Bruce Wayne would basically not participate in this kind of activity. It was just an invitation. As long as he was a reputable figure in the Bald Eagle Empire, he would send a copy to the Wayne family. But think about it. Jason suddenly felt that the Pinnacle Award sounded familiar. So he asked, Grandpa Alfred, this year's Apex Award winner won't be Tony Stark, right? Yes. How did you know? Alfred asked a little strangely. Jason smiled when he heard this. He doesn't just know this. He also knew the unfortunate Tony Stark. After receiving the award, he was kidnapped by terrorists in just one night. They were also captured and used exclusively to make weapons. Very pitiful. Grandpa Alfred, since Bruce doesn't have time, how about we go and participate? I'd like to meet Tony Stark too. Oh, Jason. It seems you want to compete with Tony Stark, right? Alfred looked at Jason kindly and said with a smile. Jason could only respond with an awkward yet polite smile. After making the decision, Alfred was very efficient. Get on the Wayne family's private jet. Alfred took Wayne straight to Las Vegas. He was accompanied by a security team of nearly 100 people. Jason is not like the other Wayne family ironheads. He takes his life safety very seriously. When traveling far away, it is natural to bring more bodyguards. Sitting on a plane, time flies by. It just took over an hour of work. He arrived at this legendary gambling city. I don't know what the Bald Eagle military thinks. The Summit Awards ceremony should be held in Las Vegas. Anyway, Jason didn't see anything suitable for awarding awards here. Master Jason, shall we go to the award ceremony? Alfred asked, standing next to Jason. Definitely not, Grandpa Alfred. I'm here to meet Tony Stark. I'm not going to meet those war maniacs and arms dealers in the military. He shook his head and looked down upon the Bald Eagle military personnel. Jason said, holding the phone. Skynet, investigate. Where is Tony Stark? It's the young master. Skynet's voice rang on the phone again. Master, Tony Stark is in the largest casino in Las Vegas. After hearing Skynet's words, Jason nodded. Grandpa Alfred, let's go. Although Alfred was very puzzled that Tony Stark did not go to the award ceremony but went to the casino. But he knows the power of artificial intelligence. He nodded without saying anything and took Jason into the Rolls-Royce next to him. Soon, Alfred took Jason to the largest casino in Las Vegas. After entering this luxurious building, the noisy life came from inside. There are people having fun everywhere. Under the protection of a kind of bodyguard, Jason separated from the crowd and walked directly towards Tony Stark. From a distance, he saw Tony Stark shouting among the crowd. I saw Tony Stark hugging him from left to right. Two blonde beauties are pregnant again. There was even more yelling and screaming from the inside. 6 o'clock. Yeah, beauty, blow on the dice. After kissing the woman, Tony Stark threw the dice. Then he continued yelling. Jason couldn't help but cover his eyes. He shouldn't have come. Now Tony Stark, in 4 words. It was simply unsightly. Before he was captured by the 10 rings, Tony Stark was a complete bastard. Only, come all come. Jason comforted himself in his mind. He walked up to say hello. Tony Stark felt someone telling him to turn around. I saw Jason, who was now only half a man tall. Where did this little guy come from? Can't you find your mother? Ha ha ha. Next thing you know, Tony Stark is laughing. Jason's face suddenly turned ugly. I'm a teenager. Isn't it normal to be so tall? Originally, I wanted to give you a hand, but now you go to the desert and sing Tears Behind Bars. Before Jason could speak, it was Alfred who spoke. Mr. Stark, please be respectful. This is Mr. Jason Wayne, Bruce Wayne's son. What? When Tony Stark heard this, he glanced at Jason in surprise. After a long time, he said, smash it, smash it. As expected, he is the hypocrite son of Bruce Wayne. He smells of hypocrisy. Tell me, kid, why did you come to me? For your father's sake, I reluctantly listened to your request. Although Jason scolded Tony Stark tens of thousands of times in his heart, but he said with a very fake smile on his face, Mr. Stark, I heard that you built your own semi-artificial intelligence in your home. It just so happens that I have made some achievements in this area. How about we talk about it? Tony Stark heard this as if he had heard some good joke. Ha 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 ha, little guy, are you serious? You actually want to discuss artificial intelligence with me? Are you the only one? I don't have time to play house with you. How about I buy some milk for you to drink? Tony Stark looked at Jason and said with a loud laugh. Chapter 16 shocked Tony. Please give me flowers and collect them. Looking at the smug Tony Stark, Jason had the urge to slap Tony Stark in the face with his shoe. Grandpa Alfred, let's go. This is a bastard with a sperm on his brain. It seems that the genius of Tony Stark circulating on the market is all exaggerated. Maybe some people bought the publicity themselves. Jason said to Alfred loudly and deliberately. That voice just passed into the ears of Tony Stark, who was touching the beautiful woman next to him. What did you say? Tony Stark said loudly. Tony Stark is a man with a very strong self-esteem. Jason said that to him in public, which made him feel very uncomfortable. I said, you are just a playboy with a sperm in your head. Jason said with a sneer. I'm just wasting my time coming here. Everything you do proves my point. If you disagree, prove it to me. Jason said with a sneer. The job Tony Stark does is certainly not that bad. In fact, his design has reached the extreme of engineering. The several robots in his basement are a mixture of artificial intelligence and mechanical engineering. Basic responses and self-control have been achieved. It can be said that it is very outstanding technically. However, it is naturally impossible for him to tell the truth. Hearing Jason's words, Tony Stark laughed angrily. Boy, you pissed me off. Tony Stark was furious when he heard this. He originally didn't want to get to know this little guy, but now this little guy talks so unpleasantly. He was going to teach this little guy a lesson for Bruce Wayne. Come on, let's find a place. Let me show you, kid, what it means to have someone outside the world and a sky outside the world. Tony Stark is also a very childish person. I couldn't bear it immediately after hearing Jason's words. Good. Jason's plot succeeded and he pretended to be indifferent and said something. As the saying goes, rocks from other mountains can attack jade. Ultra artificial intelligence was originally the joint work of Tony Stark and Bruce Banner. Tony is very capable in this area. Although he has mastered this technology, he might also be able to get some inspiration from Tony Stark's ideas. The two looked at each other, and the air became a little anxious. Then walked outside. Soon, the two came to a guest room. Boy, I heard that you know a lot about artificial intelligence. What do you think of the K-means clustering algorithm? K-means clustering algorithm is commonly used to deal with image segmentation problems. Convert images into digital language that can be recognized by artificial intelligence to improve artificial intelligence's learning ability. As the saying goes, they are the eyes of artificial intelligence. It is a very important algorithm. Jason smiled relaxedly when he heard Tony Stark ask this. Let me tell you about the normal aggregation algorithm I use. By clustering the original unlabeled input data, usually images, until data with similar characteristics are reasonably clustered into groups. As soon as Jason opened his mouth, he spoke a few thousand words eloquently. Tony Stark was a little confused. Not only because the technology Jason mentioned is very advanced, but also because he always feels that this algorithm has an inexplicable sense of familiarity. But he was certain that he had never seen this kind of technology before. I can only comfort myself that the kid in front of me may be lucky. But he also put away the contempt in his heart. This guy still has some skills, but he didn't take it to heart. He has seen many geniuses, but he has never seen anyone more talented than him. Not bad. I still have some skills. Tony Stark nodded haughtily. Then what do you think about divergent evolution such as artificial intelligence? Jason glanced at Tony Stark and said, the divergent evolution of artificial intelligence makes it difficult for artificial intelligence to use the same dataset to handle problems with similar dataset types. For example, the ImageNet dataset is used to deal with a target recognition problem, and the final recognition result is very good. But this does not guarantee that you can still have very good recognition results when dealing with video recognition and facial recognition. Compared to the divergent evolution of artificial intelligence, I agree more with its progress in convergent evolution. Using automatic optimization of artificial intelligence algorithms to perform operations within a deep framework, making artificial intelligence simulate human thinking to some extent. Tony Stark was shocked when he heard Jason To'otao's words. Mikau, so smart? Even Tony Stark didn't want to admit it deep down. But he couldn't deny that on a certain level, Jason's ideas seemed to be a little more advanced than his. He was actually inspired after listening to it. Tony Stark would never admit that. Not bad. He nodded pretending to hide the shock in his heart. Tony Stark then spoke. No matter how good the theory is, it is nothing more than a theory. The artificial intelligence I created, JARVIS, has reached the stage of strong artificial intelligence. I don't know, your theory is so solid, how about it in practice? As he said that, Tony Stark gave Jason a provocative look. Follow the Turing test. The capabilities of artificial intelligence are divided into several stages. They are weak artificial intelligence, strong artificial intelligence, and Superman artificial intelligence. It is compared with human beings. Reaching the level of strong artificial intelligence means that the level of artificial intelligence can surpass that of ordinary humans. Possess human IQ. Tony Stark's mechanical butler, JARVIS, has evolved over the years. Obviously already have self-awareness, although the final step towards evolution was inseparable from the help of Mind Gem. But it has reached the pinnacle of human artificial intelligence. It's just that compared to the mature technology in his hands, it is still lagging behind. Tony Stark wanted to regain his place in this area, but it was a miscalculation. Sorry, Mr. Stark. The artificial intelligence Skynet in my hand is at least as strong as artificial intelligence, and it should be much stronger than your AI. This is impossible. Tony Stark crossed his arms and sneered. Impossible? How about we make a bet? A smile appeared on Jason's face. What bet? Tony Stark said. I can breach JARVIS's firewall in 2 minutes. This is impossible, Tony Stark said flatly. Compared with human network offensive and defensive warfare, the war between artificial intelligences doesn't have so many bells and whistles. What is compared is the arithmetic ability. Computing ability is closely related to artificial intelligence algorithms. He didn't believe that Jason's algorithm could be better than his. It is impossible to break through JARVIS's firewall within 2 minutes. Chapter 17 New System Function. Please give me flowers and collect them. Jason looked at Tony Stark, who looked confident. I couldn't help but sigh. Comrade Tony is still too young. If it were him, he would never be so sure. You have to leave room for yourself in everything. Definitely. Tony Stark also has the ability to be confident. As one of the most talented people in the Bald Eagle Empire, it's normal to have this kind of confidence after being praised all the time. It's just that Jason is going to teach Tony Stark a lesson today. Mr. Stark, it's useless to say anything. How about we try it out? If I can't succeed, I will give you all my artificial intelligence technology. If I succeed, how about you tell me all your understanding of artificial intelligence? Hearing this, Tony Stark fell into thinking. If he didn't take it seriously before, now he takes it more seriously. He can see it. The boy in front of him is really capable. Even though he is conceited, Tony Stark is not weak in his life. But he still didn't want to give up this opportunity. After a moment of reserve, Tony Stark spoke. Though I don't think you can pull it off. But for Bruce Wayne's sake, I'll give you a chance. Jason looked at Tony Stark's expression of reluctance, smirking inwardly. Let me see if you can still be so confident later. Mr. Stark, let's get started. You do whatever you want, I've already prepared it, Tony Stark said with pride. Skynet, start the intrusion process. Do not copy the data. Yes, Master. Skynet responded through the phone and began to invade. Tony Stark was still calm, but after a while, the expression on his face became weird. Nothing else. Jarvis started frantically warning in his Bluetooth headset. The artificial intelligence he was so proud of was being defeated steadily in virtual battles. Jason looked at the look on Tony Stark's face. I also felt a little happy in my heart. It's surprising that Tony Stark's Jarvis can stop it. Ultra artificial intelligence was originally Tony Stark's technology. It also incorporates the techniques of fellow genius Bruce Banner. It can be said that Ultra artificial intelligence is definitely the technological crystallization of two geniuses, and it's the crystallization of technology a few years later. Tony Stark's technology may not have developed much in the past few years. This is equivalent to him using someone else's fully developed technology. Go play the technology you just started researching. It's a wonder Tony Stark can stop him. Not to mention, the system's technology has been enhanced. Even if Tony Stark and Bruce Banner develop Ultron again, they will still be crushed. Tony's ability to hold off for such a long time is already very impressive. Sure enough, Jason did something magical. Jarvis can no longer withstand Skynet's invasion. Tony Stark's face also turned ugly. Seeing Tony Stark's face full of doubts about life, Jason quickly comforted him. Mr. Stark's artificial intelligence is really powerful, and it took a lot of effort for my Skynet to break through Jarvis's defenses. My Skynet only has a slight advantage in computing power. Jason comforted Tony Stark. But Tony Stark's eyes were still blank. Is it really like this? Is it really just a matter of budget ability being a little more than Jarvis? He, who is also good at artificial intelligence, naturally understands Skynet is already superior to Jarvis in terms of computing capabilities and underlying logic algorithms. This frustrated him a little. What he had studied for so long was lost to a teenager. Take a deep breath, Tony Stark said. You win this time, kid. I'll give you the stuff. As he spoke, Tony Stark sent a large portion of the information to Jason. Then he continued, but boy, don't be too confident. I can't surpass you in artificial intelligence. It's just that I haven't been thinking about it recently. I will definitely be able to develop an artificial intelligence that is more advanced than yours in 2 days. Jason chuckled inwardly when he heard this. You can indeed do it, but it certainly won't be something you can do in 2 days. Indeed, Mr. Stark is indeed a genius. Stark has deep knowledge in mechanical engineering and nuclear physics, but I can't. He is only good at artificial intelligence and is not as talented as Mr. Stark. Jason smiled and said, business blows off each other. Who wouldn't? We are all adults, so it is normal to be polite. Sure enough, Tony Stark was greatly benefited from this. The expression on his face also became better. If ordinary people said that to him, he would definitely sneer at it. But Jason just surpassed him in artificial intelligence and got his approval. The words he said sounded different to his ears. However, the habits he had developed over the years still prevented him from completely letting go of his face. Boy, you are pretty good in terms of artificial intelligence. Tony Stark said a lot. Want to engage in business exchanges. It's just that Jason's mind is not on this at all. After he obtained Tony Stark's technology, the system in his mind moved again. Get insights into Tony Stark's artificial intelligence technology. Optimization of the underlying architecture of Ultron artificial intelligence. Jason was shocked when he heard the news. Then came great joy. Is there such a good thing? Tony Stark is a good man. Jason felt a little elated, but he didn't know it until a moment later. He was happy too early. The host meets the plot characters head-on. System function activated. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the technology extraction function. You will have a chance to obtain the technology owned by the character through direct communication or battle with a plot mission. Jason was even more surprised when he heard the news. The system is awesome. Tony Stark is such a good guy. This function is really useful. Unlike Tony Stark, a true genius, he can only be regarded as a genius. All techniques are learned from the system. Although the technology in hand is advanced, it also has its own limitations. That is, technology can only be limited to one discipline. He has artificial intelligence technology and only knows artificial intelligence. But Tony Stark is different. He is an all-rounder. She has profound attainments in mechanical engineering, bioengineering, new materials, nuclear physics, and other fields. This is something Jason can't compare to. It's different now. With the new function of the system, he can also become an all-rounder. So Jason's expression became more pleasing to the eye when he saw Tony Stark. Tony Stark is a good man. We must stay close to each other in the future. Chapter 18 Bionic Technology. Please give me flowers and collect them. Tony Stark leaned over and looked at Jason unkindly. Jason, hey, boy, are you listening to me carefully? Tony Stark felt a little angry. He just saw Jason speak so nicely. I am going to talk more about his work in artificial intelligence. But unexpectedly, He hasn't started yet. The kid in front of me was actually distracted. This really made him angry. Jason glanced at Tony Stark and smiled quickly. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Stark, your skills are really great. I was fascinated by what I just watched. I'm sorry. Tony Stark looked a little better when he heard Jason say this. Glanced at Jason, as if to say, I guess you, kid, are wise. Jason couldn't help but chuckle inwardly. Why does Tony Stark act like a child? Mr. Stark, don't worry, let's go on. Let's go on. I completely agree with Mr. Stark's understanding of artificial intelligence infrastructure just now, but I also have a slightly different perspective. I think existing servers can no longer support artificial intelligence level pre-computing. I think we have to get more advanced server technology. Bionics is a major direction. As we all know, there are billions of neurons in the human brain. The propagation of electrical signals within them forms the complex fabric of our thoughts. If we can simulate the function of the human brain, it doesn't take much, just basic simulation, and the problem of insufficient computing power can be solved. Hearing what Jason said, Tony Stark was also thoughtful. There is essentially no difference between artificial intelligence and ordinary computers, except that algorithms are the core. The hardware foundation is also a very important part. If an ordinary computer is slightly overclocked, the computer will heat up endlessly and the CPU will not be able to withstand it. The same is true for artificial intelligence. Something that can only support ordinary calculations, you make it bear excessive calculations. This is definitely not possible. Therefore, artificial intelligence must require better hardware facilities. For his artificial intelligence butler Jarvis, we directly found a 5 or 6-story building in the Stark building to place the server. But it's still a bit overwhelming. Sometimes when doing experiments, we also need to use the internet for cloud computing. The idea of Bionic servers that Jason mentioned also gave him a reminder. Thinking of this, Tony Stark's face became serious. Your method is indeed good, but it's still difficult to achieve with existing technology. First of all, our understanding of the human brain is very rudimentary. It's still very difficult to achieve the functions of the human brain. Secondly, we do not have suitable materials. Existing silicon-based chip materials cannot simulate the functions of the human brain at all. When Tony Stark talks about technology, he immediately seems to be a different person. He completely lost his usual playboy and carefree look. He immediately became a professional. Jason also sighed when he saw the change in Tony Stark. It's no accident that Tony Stark can achieve this level of success. Normally, I usually stay up all night doing experiments, relying entirely on coffee. This is also reflected in the movie. Moreover, Tony Stark also has an amazing professional sense of smell. The essence of the matter can be seen clearly at a glance. It can be seen that materials are an important factor limiting the development of technology. There is such a method in the engineering world. Technical problems are ultimately material problems. Any technical bottleneck can be solved as long as there are materials with sufficient performance. The same is true for the problem of insufficient computing capabilities. Silicon-based chips limit machine computing capabilities, but fortunately, he has solved this problem long ago. In other words, Tony Stark, inspired by the Mind Gem, has solved it, Jason said with a bright smile on his face. Mr. Stark, I just have some new ideas in this area. Hearing this, Tony Stark suddenly felt an ominous premonition. It was exactly what he expected. Jason then spoke. The human brain is indeed a very complex organ. There is no definitive study of the human brain in the world yet. But we also have other ways. The way the brain thinks is actually not that difficult. Various neurons send out electrical signals, coupled with chemical reactions at the synapses. Let us form thoughts in our minds. We cannot accurately simulate the synthesis and delivery of various chemicals in the brain. But we can, to a certain extent, simulate the way electrical signals are transmitted in the brain. Jason glanced up at Tony Stark. Seeing him, my mind was completely attracted by his words. He immediately spoke again. The strength of metals depends on the free electrons in the metal. The conductive ability of different materials is different because of the different energy bands. Some substances have forbidden bands that completely isolate electrons. Nature cannot conduct electricity. Most organisms are very poor conductors of electricity and have high electrical resistance. That's why I developed an eco-friendly metal. It uses quark-level particles smaller than matter atoms, making it more conductive than gold, which is the most conductive of electricity. It can completely achieve the purpose of simulating biological electrical signals. Jason paused and glanced at Tony Stark. Only Tony Stark's face was full of deep thought. It uses lithium, an active element that is commonly used today. Then it goes through a honeycomb fiberization process and a certain amount of other pairs of paramethyl amino acids are added. It can form an active metal similar to biological tissue. When Jason said this, he was a little surprised himself. Biological tissue and metal are two completely different things. But with clever technical processing, the resulting material is fully biologically active and has metallic properties. Its ability to conduct electricity is almost comparable to that of superconductors. Plus the resistance is very low. There is no need to worry about server heating. It is simply a material that can be used as the core of a server. Compared with the current common silicon-based chips, The performance is not much better. Without any exaggeration, it is not a problem to exchange this technology for tens of billions of dollars. This is a technology that can cause a major earthquake in the entire semiconductor industry. Tony Stark heard this and looked at the information Jason gave him. There were also huge waves in my heart. He had to admit in his heart that he underestimated the young man in front of him. At the same time, Jason also got feedback. Conduct scientific discussions with plot tasks. The extracted target possesses technology. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained the steel battlesuit technology. Chapter 19, Business Conflict. Please give me flowers. Please give me a collection. Jason looked at the system prompts and was full of surprises. Tony Stark is simply his lucky star. Provided him with a new system function. It also provided him with a new technology. It's still his own special skill. What kind of spirit is this? This is the spirit of international selfless dedication. The way Jason looked at Tony Stark became gentler. Mr. Stark, what do you think of this technology? Tony Stark was shocked when he heard this. Just now he had an in-depth understanding of this technology. The more he understood, the more he realized the power of this technology. This isn't just a bionic server thing. It is another big breakthrough in the field of materials. It is simply a new technical research direction that has been opened. He even thought that this technology could win a Nobel Prize. Thinking of this, Tony Stark felt even more uncomfortable. How could that guy Bruce Wayne give birth to such a genius child? Envy, jealousy, and hatred spoke after a long while. Jason, your development direction is really good. It's just that there is still room for improvement in some aspects. For example, in the integration of biologically active factors. That still needs to be improved. When Tony Stark said this, Jason was shocked. As expected of Tony Stark, most people see Tony Stark as Iron Man. It seems like he only has outstanding abilities in mechanical engineering. But in fact, Tony Stark is a true all-rounder. In the movie, after Pepper is captured by the villain, Extremis was injected. It became a dangerous source that could explode at any time. But Tony Stark is seeing Extremis for the first time. It took several months of hard work to turn Chili into a normal person. The villain Killian has spent more than 20 years studying this virus. It's no wonder Killian has such a deep grudge against him. Tony Stark. It can be seen from this that Tony Stark also has very in-depth research in the field of biological sciences. He could see the flaws in this metal and it was very normal. Mr. Stark, you are truly a genius. Jason praised sincerely. Tony Stark's face darkened when he heard Jason say this. Are you mocking me? Are you really mocking me? You, a guy who developed this kind of technology as a teenager, praise me as a genius? Why does this sound so unpleasant? Never mind. I'm an adult who has a lot of knowledge and is not as knowledgeable as a child. No matter how talented he is only good at an artificial intelligence, and I'm a jack of all trades. I'm much better than this kid. After comforting himself, Tony Stark felt much better. After preparing his mind, Tony Stark showed a fake smile on his face. Jason, you're not bad either. Your understanding of artificial intelligence is very deep and has reached the top level in the world. Second to me. Jason rolled his eyes at this. Tony Stark is really narcissistic. At this time, I don't forget to boast. It's really good enough. The key thing is that what he said is true. There are really not many scientists on Earth who can compare with him. After all the calculations, there are only 4 or 5. He can now be counted among them. This made Jason suddenly feel a little happy. I've always admired Mr. Stark's truth-telling nature. It's really fascinating. Jason also told lies with his eyes open. Completely forgot about an hour or two ago. The scene where he points at Tony Stark's nose and curses him. The two exchanged business blows for a long time. Let's start talking about the technical aspects again. The discussion got to a point where the two even used artificial intelligence to conduct simulations. If conditions didn't allow it, they would all want to experiment with their ideas in the laboratory. The two discussed it for several hours, until night falls. Both of their stomachs growled before they stopped. At the moment, the relationship between the two people is very harmonious. Although Tony Stark is an arrogant man, he is also very arrogant and venomous. But I really have nothing to say to my friends. Just talk about the Avengers guys. Without the support of Tony Stark, he would have been living on the streets and eating ashes. Where can we live together in a mansion and drink beer every day? Counting on Nick Fury, they would have starved to death. And War Machine is even more so. Whether it was Tony personally accompanying him to recover after being injured or giving away the steel armor that he had never given away, it can all be said that Tony Stark is a person who values his friends very much. He cares very much about the people he recognizes. It's just that on the surface he looks very arrogant, which can easily be misunderstood by others. Jason felt all of this. In this short time, he has obtained a lot of technology from Tony Stark. Some can still be recognized by the system. This is a true friend. Jason sighed and said, Tony, that's it for today. We can talk about it later when we have time. I won't interrupt your spring night anymore. You little brat doesn't know a thing. Tony Stark said contemptuously. I am cow. Jason was extremely angry. Although he is still young, he is very talented. Tony Stark, that bastard, actually said that to him. I was originally planning to treat you just once so that you would suffer less, but now I'm done with it. Huh. Some people have a lot of hair by then, but it doesn't last long, So what's the use? Jason mocked, not wanting to be outdone. Hey, kid. Do you know what you're talking about? I'm Tony. Tony Stark immediately jumped up from his chair like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. I'm not interested in learning about these things. I'm still young. Jason said something, and Tony Stark suddenly fell silent. At the moment, he was also a little annoyed. How could he be so easily aroused by this little guy? Tony Stark felt that it must be because this kid was so mature that he didn't look like a child at all. He even sometimes felt that Jason was more mature than him. But soon, he threw this unreliable idea out of his mind. How is this possible? Shaking his head, Tony Stark said, "Haha, I don't know the same as you. You go back to find your father." Jason didn't take it seriously when he heard this. He had also experienced Tony's mouth, and this tone was completely normal to him. It would be a big headache for Tony Stark to be gentle one day. He shook his head nonchalantly. Jason said goodbye to Tony Stark and left the room. Chapter 20, Petroleum Country is really dangerous. Please give me flowers and collect them. The next day, when Jason got up from bed, it was already 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He benefited a lot from his conversation with Tony Stark yesterday. I did the experiment all night yesterday. Naturally, he got up later. But when he came together, Alfred walked in from outside before eating. "Master, something happened." "What happened?" "Did something happen to Tony Stark?" Jason said to Alfred while eating his sandwich. "Master, how do you know? Does this matter have anything to do with you?" Alfred said in surprise. Jason rolled his eyes and said, "Grandpa Alfred, do you think it's possible?" "Then how did you know?" Alfred asked with a frown. "Grandpa Alfred, don't you even read news on your mobile phone?" Jason said helplessly. Not to mention that he already knew something was going to happen to Tony Stark. Just talking about the various news on the phone was enough for him to understand what happened. The news with various shocking headlines can be said to attract enough attention. He even has the demeanor of some editorial offices in his previous life. Alfred also realized that he had made a big joke. Old people like him still like to read newspapers for things like mobile phones, although he also uses it. He doesn't use it as frequently as young people. Seeing the embarrassment on Alfred's face, Jason smiled and said, "Grandpa Alfred, did you give him the gift I gave Tony Stark?" "Definitely," Alfred said. "That's okay. Tony Stark can't die," Jason said nonchalantly. Originally, he wanted to directly persuade Tony Stark not to participate in the military product promotion. But after thinking about it, he felt that there seemed to be no reason for him to do so. He and Tony Stark were not related to each other, and their friendship was not that deep. Even if he told him, Tony Stark would definitely not believe it. After talking about it, Tony Stark might even suspect that the Wayne family might want to enter the arms industry. "I want to steal his family's business." But Tony Stark gave him so much technology, and he couldn't ignore it. He gave Tony Stark a body armor newly developed by Wayne Group. Body armor made of ultrafine carbon fiber. The thickness is only slightly thicker than an ordinary shirt, but it can block automatic rifle fire. Although the huge kinetic energy of firearms cannot be completely eliminated. But wearing this body armor, he would never end up with a big hole in his chest. As for whether Tony Stark will wear it, he wasn't worried at all. He gave Tony Stark a good scare yesterday. Describe the deserts of oil countries as the home of terrorists. If it weren't for the fact that the design list this time was too big, Tony Stark was almost too scared to go to oil countries to discuss business. In fact, the reality was no different than Jason expected. Tony Stark was frightened when he heard Jason's exaggerated statement. So much so that after he got off the private plane, he even exchanged body armor with a soldier regardless of his demeanor. "Tony, what are you doing? Aren't you afraid of heat stroke?" Tony Stark's Colonel Roddy said helplessly. "Oh, Roddy, I'm protecting myself." Tony Stark said something. "Happy, you should wear one too. This place is too dangerous." "Tony, hey Tony." Colonel Roddy really couldn't stand it anymore. He grabbed Tony and said, "Tony, this is the Bald Eagle military base. There is no danger at all. Don't be afraid. Roddy, who can say for sure?" "I heard that terrorists here like to use suicide bombs and nuclear weapons," Tony Stark said without hesitation. Colonel Roddy rolled his eyes helplessly. "There is such a thing as a suicide bomb? But nuclear weapons? Which bastard is talking nonsense? If the petrostates had nuclear weapons, how could they, the Bald Eagles, dare to come in and grab oil as they pleased?" After some hard work, Roddy persuaded Tony Stark to return the military body armor that was taken from the soldier. But Tony put on the light body armor that Jason gave him. Only then did he feel much safer. He comforted himself and calmed down his emotions. Tony Stark began to introduce his Jericho missile to the military. After seeing this kind of cluster bomb that can automatically lock on the target, the military decisively placed an order worth billions. After Tony opened the red wine, he also moved the territory with the soldiers. Along the way, I joked with a few fan soldiers. Tony Stark's nervousness also eased a lot. But before he could be happy for too long, he heard a loud bang. The military jeep in front of it suddenly erupted into a huge amount of sparks. "What's going on? What happened?" Tony Stark suddenly became very panicked. "Shit, enemy attack. Shit, fire. Stay in the car." On site there was an attack. The soldiers in the car had absolutely no time to protect Tony Stark and just let him stay in the car. He quickly ran outside the car and fired back with a firearm. However, these attackers were obviously well prepared. They were naturally prepared to attack the Bald Eagle Empire, the most elite force in the world. After a while, the few soldiers who resisted were all killed. As soon as Tony Stark saw this situation, he ignored the warnings of several soldiers and ran out directly. Braving the gunfire, he ran behind a rock with dangerous risks. Tony Stark pulled out his cell phone as if to call for backup. As a top rich man and the smartest scientist in the world, he naturally has ways to save his life. But before he could make a call, he saw an additional missile in front of him. The name Stark Industries is clearly visible above. Shit! Tony Stark turned around and wanted to run. But before he could move, the bomb in front of him exploded. Then Tony Stark fly out. A few meters away. Tony Stark felt pain all over his body when he landed. It was like being crushed by a steamroller. But when he touched his body, he discovered that there were no wounds on his body. Looked down. The suit on his chest was in pieces. Some tiny metal fragments were embedded in it. Tony Stark was terrified. If he hadn't been wearing the bulletproof vest that Jason gave him, he would have been disabled at the moment. Ha ha ha, Jason, you are a genius. With an excited shout, Tony Stark turned around and got up and wanted to run. However, he hadn't taken a few steps yet. I felt a sharp pain in the back of my neck, then my eyes went black and I fell to the ground. Before falling into coma, Tony Stark only had time to have one thought. Oil country is so f***ing dangerous. Chapter 21 Controllable Miniature Cold Fusion. Please give me flowers and collect them. Of course, Jason didn't know what happened to Tony Stark in the oil country. He just knows a man of luck like Tony Stark would definitely not die so easily. There was nothing else to do, and his old man went out to do chivalry again. He could only return to the laboratory again. After all, he just got lucky and learned the technology of steel battlesuit from Tony Stark. This made him very impatient. Who doesn't want a steel battlesuit of their own? It's just a person who has this kind of dream. Now that he can realize it, he will naturally realize it. Skynet, create a file, codenamed Mark V. File creation has been completed. Please enter the content. The main body is divided into two parts, the energy part and the armor part. After feeling the vast amount of information in his mind, Jason thought for a moment and said, I have to say, Tony Stark is really a genius. With a mortal body, he can stand up to the gods. This is not just talk. In the steel armor, many things are black technologies across the ages. Take the defensive ability of steel armor as an example. This is something very incredible. In real life, physical defense also has limits. For example, authentic military body armor is very heavy. On top of the body armor, there are various protective ceramic plates and protective steel plates. The purpose is to offset the powerful kinetic energy of the bullet. Even if an ordinary bulletproof vest blocks a bullet, the powerful kinetic energy of the bullet will also cause a great impact on the human body. The same goes for steel armor. To block an attack, consider the impact. A layer of alloy armor with a thickness of only a few centimeters may be able to block frontal bombardment from a tank's main gun. But how to mitigate the impact of artillery shells is a very big problem. If it is not handled well, the person inside the steel armor will be directly beaten into a puddle of flesh by the impact. And this is an insignificant part of the black technology of steel armor. Other black technologies include acceleration buffering, energy weapons, cold nuclear fusion, medium-less propulsion engines, global non-segment real-time communications, and so on. Even Jason's technology comes from direct infusion of the system. It also took a long time to sort out these technologies. Wait until he inputs the technical skills into Skynet by category and creates a file. Jason said after all preparations were completed. Open archive, energy system, cold fusion arc reactor. Jason said carefully. What technology is the most black technology in Tony Stark's steel armor? There is no doubt that it is an arc reactor, which belongs to the category of controllable miniature cold fusion. How awesome is this thing? For example, a reactor the size of a fist file can instantly generate as much energy as a quarter of an arc reactor. This is a very scary concept. Mastering this technology means that only a few dozen arc reactors are needed across the country to meet the country's electricity needs. What an amazing technology. It is no exaggeration to say that based on the technological level of his previous life, the arc reactor would have been at least 1,000 years ahead of the world. Not to mention, this invincible miniature energy can also be used in aircraft carriers, nuclear submarines, spaceships, weapons, etc. In Jason's opinion, the value of the steel armor is not as high as the value of the arc reactor. Therefore, his first project was the arc reactor. However, this reaction is very difficult to create. Don't look at it. Tony Stark made this thing in a cave with ease. But there is a scientist in the movie who said it well. That's Tony Stark, someone who can rely on his own technology to fight against alien warlords. With a population of tens of billions and control of hundreds of planets, sometimes Jason even had doubts that Tony Stark was the man who cheated. Fortunately, it was actually him who cheated. Shaking his head to get rid of the envy in his mind, Jason spoke. Skynet, Order a few tons of palladium metal. Yes, Master. Jason nodded with satisfaction after hearing the reply. Although palladium is a precious metal, it can be used in many fields such as aerospace, energy, and automobiles. But the price is not high, cheaper than gold. For him, who was born into the Wayne family, it was incredibly cheap. Naturally he ordered more. As for the new elements used in future generations of steel battlesuits, Jason feels it is completely unnecessary. That unlucky guy Tony Stark was poisoned by palladium metal only because he had the arc reactor in his body. He has no such worries. War Machine uses steel armor every day and still has no problems. The high level of energy used by the first generation and mass-produced version, which was quickly eliminated, was too wasteful. Palladium metal is cheap. Isn't it delicious? Unlike Tony Stark who likes to show off, Jason prefers to work behind the scenes. That custom-made steel battlesuit like Tony Stark's would be a bit inappropriate. With Skynet, like Ultron, building an army of mechas is his best choice. In the end, he only built himself a nano armor, which was enough. Wait until he has accumulated his armor for a few years. He is not afraid even if Thanos comes. Wouldn't he be happy if he could just overwhelm Thanos with a massive army of steel armors? Thinking of this, Jason chuckled, establishing a controllable miniature cold fusion reactor production line. Secretly buying a piece of land in Africa to build a factory. Archive this file as top secret and prohibit others from reading it. Open the laboratory and prepare for the initial manufacturing of a controllable miniature cold fusion reactor. Order a 5-axis simultaneous processing machine tool from the Wayne Group machine tool department. The laboratory has divided a special area to establish the Tokamak strong magnetic confinement device. A series of commands were issued from Jason's mouth. Under the efficient arrangements of Skynet, it was quickly implemented. For a scientist, having an artificial intelligence like Skynet is very worry-free. After a pause, Jason continued. Load technical template. Design diagram of projecting controllable miniature cold fusion. Jason gave an order, and a huge amount of projection appeared in the laboratory. Just like when Tony Stark developed new elements, Jason wants to make an arc reactor. Artificial intelligence must also be used to conduct advanced simulations. This can eliminate many completely unnecessary experimental procedures. While manipulating the virtual projection in front of him, Jason realized the technology in his mind. Sometimes even a few parameters are entered into the system to adjust the structure of some arc reactors. The technology provided by the system is enhanced technology based on Tony Stark's second-generation arc reactor. The energy output efficiency is higher and more stable. It is not that easy to achieve this using existing technology. Chapter 22 Complex Principles. Please give me flowers and collect them. But technology never develops alone. The development of technology relies on the entire scientific system. Those technologies that can surpass the existing system in a single aspect and can be realized are called black technologies. Tony Stark's steel armor is undoubtedly a piece of black technology. What is even more technologically advanced about the iron armor is the arc reactor, the core of the iron armor. The arc reactor is essentially a controllable miniature cold fusion technology. It is a type of nuclear fusion. Why is it so difficult to achieve nuclear fusion? This starts with nuclear fusion. All human electrical energy systems originate from a great scientist, Faraday. It was Faraday, the master who left his name in physics, who discovered the connection between electromagnetism. Human beings invented magnetic power generation. All existing power generation devices are inseparable from magnetic power generation. Even China's nuclear reactors use this device. The clever point of a nuclear power plant is that it is actually a device that uses nuclear energy to heat water and then uses steam to drive a generator. And here lies the difficulty. The only nuclear fusion method currently available to humans is the hydrogen bomb. Atomic bombs are used to ignite the fusion reaction of atoms, allowing atoms to undergo nuclear fusion and emit huge amounts of energy. If you want to use nuclear fusion, you must be able to restrain the explosion of a hydrogen bomb. You can imagine how painful this is. Although the fusion reaction raw materials used in the nuclear fusion device used in the laboratory are definitely not as much as those used in hydrogen bombs. But it was also a high temperature of hundreds of millions, even worse than the core temperature of the sun. So nuclear fusion is also called artificial sun. However, this is only the technology required for controllable nuclear fusion. The technology required for miniature cold fusion is even more amazing. Among them, cotton balls have several difficulties. First, how to produce nuclear fusion reaction at room temperature. Second, how miniature controllable fusion converts fusion energy into electrical energy. Third, what materials can be used to withstand this energy change. These are all things that need to be considered. So Tony Stark built a small arc reactor in a cave, which is simply not something humans can do. Fortunately, the conditions Jason has are not so harsh. With the support of Wayne Group, he has enough black technology materials. Skynet, building a model of the magnetic field inside the Tokamak device, simulating magnetic field motion in a small, controllable nuclear fusion device. Nuclear fusion is essentially the integration process of atomic nuclei. Two light cores integrate to form a heavy core and an extremely light core. During this process, part of the nuclear material is converted into photons. That is energy. Generally speaking, This energy is completely uncontrollable. After integrating, it will be completely emitted. The core of controllable nuclear fusion is how to control this part of photons. The arc-shaped arc reactor uses magnetic confinement to restrain this energy. Skynet records the experimental principles. Photons produced by nuclear fusion have extremely high energy. According to the essence of electromagnetic force, it is the exchange of photons. We can interfere with the photons produced by nuclear fusion to a certain extent, and then let them spontaneously form an electromagnetic field. Confining photons produced by nuclear fusion using spontaneously formed electromagnetic fields. Jason coughed and stopped recording. The most genius thing about Tony Stark, it uses the photon energy generated by nuclear fusion itself for magnetic confinement. Saves a lot of space. This also paved the way for the miniaturization of nuclear fusion reactors. It may be difficult for him to reach such heights. With a sigh, Jason continued. Skynet continues recording, establishing a magnetic field-cutting device on the periphery of a small nuclear fusion reactor. Intrinsic power generation using originally electromagnetic fields. How powerful is the ability produced by nuclear fusion? The electromagnetic field it generates has very strong binding force. Otherwise, the huge energy of nuclear fusion cannot be restrained. The amount of electricity generated depends on the amount of cutting magnetic induction. The file size of the magnetic induction quantity depends on the file size of the magnetic field. As for large magnetic fields, arc reactors are not lacking at all. In this way, there is no problem with huge power generation. The biggest problem facing Jason now is how to solve the interference of the magnetic field on the outside world and how to achieve nuclear fusion under normal temperature conditions. After thinking for a while, Jason continued to speak. Using iron oxide high-purity silicon diamagnetic confinement materials to neutralize the magnetic field generated by the reactor. At the same time, it has a protective effect on the reactor. The hardest part of the steel armor is actually not the original of the armor. It's the reactor in the center of the armor. In the movie, none of Loki's scepters penetrated Iron Man's reactor defenses. What is used is an electromagnetic principle. When the external diamagnetic material eliminates the magnetic field, it is also affected by the magnetic field. Its internal structure is getting tighter and tighter. The result is some kind of molecularly strong force material. Its intensity can even be increased infinitely. Naturally extremely hard. Jason glanced at his notes inside Skynet and nodded with satisfaction. Then he continued to speak. Cold fusion is based on the principle of entropy silence, converting photons produced by nuclear fusion into high-energy particles that are much harder to find. Avoid generating high temperatures and endangering human beings themselves, Jason said and smiled. The reaction temperature of nuclear fusion can easily reach hundreds of millions of degrees Celsius. The surface temperature of the Sun is only 5,500 degrees Celsius, and the internal temperature is only over 20 million degrees Celsius. The plasma produced by nuclear fusion is 5 times hotter than the Sun's core. Large nuclear fusion reactors are equipped with various cooling devices on the outside. Concrete has the function of preventing both nuclear leakage and temperature leakage. Otherwise, if this high-temperature plasma leaks out, even reinforced concrete will vaporize instantly. What if Tony Stark's arc reactor wasn't cold fusion? His entire body will be instantly vaporized within 2 milliseconds. Even forming a huge amount of high-temperature heat source within the Earth, it can instantly set off a strong wind of level 12 in the core. It's a mobile hydrogen bomb. Fortunately, Tony Stark is not the kind of person who likes to seek death. He solved this problem in an ingenious way. The process of nuclear fusion does not even have time to produce high-temperature plasma. It is directly converted from photons into some kind of light particles. In terms of appearance, it can only emit a weak's blue light. It is simply impossible to generate enough high temperature to spread to the outside world. This is a very remarkable invention in both the theoretical and engineering fields. After running a few thoughts in his mind, the arc reactor model in front of Jason was basically completed. Looking at the arc reactor emitting true blue light in front of him, Jason smiled sincerely on his face. With this, he'll never have to worry about energy again. Buzz. Chapter 23, Building a Reactor. Please give me flowers and collections. After creating a controllable miniature cold fusion reactor, Jason started the manufacturing process. But before creating miniature product prototypes, Jason planned to build himself a big one first. Tony Stark built a huge amount of reactor right underneath the Stark building. He calls it the arc reactor. This reactor powers his entire Stark building. The energy can even radiate to several surrounding blocks, which is very scary. Jason would naturally want to get some of these good things for himself. He had long been displeased with the several large cables several meters thick in Wayne Manor. Not only is it ugly, but the energy is also in the hands of others. Although there is no one in Gotham who dares to go against the Wayne family. But what if the Court of Owls really turns its back? Wayne Group and Wayne Manor can lose power in an instant. Then Batman can only go into battle naked. His batsuit is all in the underground garage, and it takes a lot of energy to get the battlesuit out. So under the orders of the young master of the Wayne family, major construction began next door to Wayne Manor. It only took 2 days of work. He transformed what was originally a small manor into a very solid nuclear fusion reactor center. In the middle, A prototype of a large arc reactor with a diameter of more than 10 meters has been established. As long as Jason gives the order, this behemoth can run. It can even function for the entire Gotham City with ease. But Jason is not so kind. It is also impossible to leak this technology. Stark Industries developed the arc reactor several years ago. Tony Stark has also always wanted to enter the new energy industry. This is originally a good thing that benefits the country and the people. But Tony Stark ultimately had no choice but to enter the arms industry. What is this for? Naturally, it's because the Bald Eagle Empire has the largest oil company in the world. New energy sources are completely unacceptable to them. Tony Stark would be better off if not for his relationship with SHIELD. He might have been dumped into the wilderness long ago. It's not like his father never died. So Jason, a person who values life so hard, would naturally not do such a stupid thing. So after completing the manufacturing of the arc's reactivity, Jason once again plunged into the newly built industrial laboratory. The prototype of the steel armor has been manufactured. It also requires maintenance from him. However, while he was still in the laboratory, a man came directly to the door. Oh my god, what is this? As soon as Jason heard this exaggerated voice, he knew it was the old man from Fox. At the moment he was lying in front of the arc reactor and marveling. The look in arc reactor's eyes was extremely obsessed, as if he was seeing a beautiful woman without any clothes on. Jason, this is going to be. Fox looked at Jason and felt a little embarrassed when he spoke. Yes, this is the arc reactor, Jason said extremely calmly. How do you know this technology? Isn't this Tony Stark's core technology? When did you build this whole great thing? How did you do your research? Fox's mouth was like a barrage of fire. He kept asking questions. Jason's scalp went numb when he heard it, and he waved his hand quickly. Fox, how do I answer your many questions? Let me answer your first question first. This is truly Tony Stark's technology. Then how did you obtain it? This is a very powerful technology. I think at the beginning, I spent a while but couldn't replicate this technology. It's just too difficult, Fox said in a very sad tone. Jason sighed when he heard this and nodded in agreement. It's really difficult. It took me 3 days to fully recover him. The expression on Jason's face was very heavy. It looked as if it had taken him not 3 days but 30 years. But Fox next to him was immediately dumbfounded. He felt that the world of he had spent decades building was once again under attack. He's not a fool. He is the technical director of Wayne Group, a multinational group. All technical staff in the entire Wayne Group are nominally his subordinates. He also personally made Batman's suit and various equipment. The Batmobile, Bat-Windbreaker, Bat-Suit, and all kinds of powerful equipment for dealing with various villains are all made by him. He is also the military technology advisor of the Bald Eagle Empire, a teacher at SHIELD Academy, etc. It can be said that he is the absolute technological master of the Bald Eagle Empire. But he studied controllable micro-cold fusion reactors for 3 years. I also observed the Stark Group at close range many times, and even communicated with Tony Stark originally. Then, he found nothing. No results were achieved. Jason's arc reactor only took 3 days. Thinking of this, Fox felt 2 lines of tears in his heart. For the first time, he knew that there was such a huge gap between geniuses and mortals. Seeing Fox's whole body stiffen, Jason said sorry. The cheating life is so boring and boring. After being satisfied with himself for a long time, Jason finally asked, Fox, what are you doing here this time? I'm here for artificial intelligence technology. Fox looked at the artificial intelligence basic chip technology contract in his hand. After looking at the arc reactor in front of me, suddenly he felt that the skills in his hands were no longer good. Somewhat boring. It's not that the technology is bad, but there are delicacies from the mountains and seas in front of you, and the boiled water in your hand is just steamed buns. How can you still eat them? Thinking of this, Fox asked with some anticipation. Jason, see if we can. Cannot. Jason decisively rejected Fox. As soon as this old man sticks his ass out, he knows what he's going to do. This bad old man must have paid attention to his arc reactor. How could he agree to this? Fox, don't forget what happened to Stark Industries in the past few years. When Fox heard this, he suddenly woke up. Tony Stark also entered the new energy industry with confidence in the past few years. As a result, it was attacked by the entire old energy giant. The group's business was almost cut in half, and its stock price dropped like diabetes. In the end, if the military hadn't protected him, the entire Stark industry would have been killed by those energy giants. Wayne Group was also involved back then. He naturally knows how powerful those old energy companies are. Fox instantly dismissed the inappropriate idea. Then Jason, you can build one for Wayne Group? Fox asked directly. Can? Jason said something. But before Fox was happy enough, he added again. Wait for more money. Chapter 24, Fox, whose 3 views have collapsed. Please give me flowers and collect them. Fox thinks Jason is a really talented guy. However, there is a very humiliating shortcoming. That is a great love for money. Although Wayne Group is his family's own business, he still does not give any discount to Wayne Group. No matter how close the brothers are, They have to settle their accounts clearly. This seems very strange to Fox. He could only blame it on the quirks of genius. Jason, this matter cannot be decided until a board meeting. We'll discuss it some other time. Fox took a breath and said, "Oh sure." Jason nodded. "Grandpa Alfred will discuss it with you then." Alfred is the personal butler of the Wayne family, and he can negotiate this kind of business cooperation. "What are you still doing here?" Jason frowned and looked at Fox in front of him. This old man has finished the business deal. Why is he still here? Fox also looked at the brat in front of him speechlessly. He serves as the chief technology officer of Wayne Group, the central henchman of the Wayne family. Even Bruce Wayne was always polite to him. The boy in front of me was simply arrogant. However, I thought about their abilities. Fox decided to endure it. Fox forced a bright smile on his face and said, "Jason, can I take a look at your research here?" Jason looked at Fox and thought for a moment. Fox is the chief technology officer of Wayne Group and a devoted man of the Wayne family. He made Bruce Wayne's batsuit. I think it's very reliable. It's not impossible to let him take a look at his research. Okay, don't touch things. When Fox heard Jason's words, he couldn't help but think of what he said to him when he was still a student. He seemed to be a poor and helpless graduate student again. Just look at the arc reactor next to it, and think about it. It only took Jason 3 days to develop this technology. Fox was suddenly speechless. He could only nod his head obediently. Seeing Fox's performance, Jason was very satisfied and turned around to start his own research. The modeling of the steel armor has actually been completed, and the processing of Zero Plus has been completed. Now only the assembly is left, and his laboratory was built for this purpose. Among them are fully automatic industrial robots, similar to the robots Tony Stark used to build the Iron Suit. It is a completely automatic device, operated automatically by Skynet. After looking at the drawings in front of him and seeing that there were no mistakes or omissions, Jason spoke directly. "Skynet, start assembly." Assembly process starts. Skynet's voice rang in front of him. Then several large industrial robots rose from the ground. Tens of thousands of small parts were assembled into a white and black armor under the operation of industrial robots, plus the bells and whistles Jason modified on it. This armor doesn't look like a steel armor, but like an armored warrior. "What is this?" Fox couldn't help but speak loudly again. As a developer of the Bat armor, Fox could naturally tell at a glance that it was some kind of wearable armor. Compared to the Bat armor, which can only be used purely as a defensive armor, this armor is obviously much more complete. First of all, the armor in front of you is a full-body armor, so there is no need to worry about being harmed by external forces. Moreover, he can install thin metal devices inside the armor, which should be used as a buffer. Compared with the ordinary Bat armor, the combat ability of this armor is obviously much stronger. However, the weight of a battle armor like this must be so staggering that it cannot be moved by human power. "Jason, what drives this armor?" "It shouldn't be driven by manpower alone, right?" Jason glanced at Fox in surprise. "I didn't expect that this old man was quite knowledgeable." "It looks like there are 2 brushes. This armor uses tens of thousands of micro servo motors to provide power for the armor. Its power can even reach about 10 tons. Jason explained with a smile. "This thing is not like the carbon fiber armor on Batman, but it is very heavy. Even with lightweight gold titanium alloys, weight is a big issue. At least it's not something a playboy with a weak kidney like Tony Stark can afford." This shows how smart Tony Stark is. Inside the armor, there are tens of thousands of tiny electrodes that can provide sufficient kinetic energy to the armor, and because of the existence of the arc reactor on the chest, there is no need to worry about energy issues at all. It's completely a perpetual motion machine. However, Fox didn't know this. Tens of thousands of servo motors? How is that possible? Ordinary batteries cannot support this kind of consumption, and there is no space inside the armor to store batteries. Fox asked in surprise. "Look at the chest of the armor." Following the direction of Jason's finger, Fox saw a 5-pointed star pattern emitting light blue light. "What is this?" Fox asked a little strangely. "Controllable miniature cold fusion reactor," Jason asked succinctly. "This is impossible," Fox said with disbelief. It is enough to believe that Jason developed the arc reactor, but it can also be miniaturized. This is incredible. After large-scale equipment is miniaturized, the required technical content increases exponentially. Fox simply doesn't think anyone can implement this technology right now. "Fox, nothing is impossible in this world." Jason smiled and said, "This is a high-risk world like Marvel and DC. How is it impossible? There are even gods who can destroy the universe and change the timeline at will. How is this impossible?" Fox still knows too little. This is unscientific. Small fusion reactors should never exist. Existing materials simply cannot support the miniaturization of nuclear reactors, and cold fusion is generally considered a false theory and is simply impossible to achieve. Fox said with some confusion. Scientific researchers are much more stubborn than the average person. The confidence of interpretation makes it difficult for them to believe that such technology exists in the world. Fox, on the contrary, this is real science. The essence of our scientific research is to make the impossible possible. You should not be constrained by your inherent scientific biases. Existing materials can still do this. Besides, let's be practical, Jason said to Fox. Skynet, turn on full power output mode. As soon as Jason finished speaking, the arc reactor in front of him glowed brightly. The surrounding instruments began to operate crazily. Chapter 25 War Machine. Please give me flowers and collect them. Jason's new laboratory is filled with piercing sirens. Under the full output of the arc reactor, the values on the energy testing device are off the charts. Fox was stunned when he saw it. How is this possible? How could something so small emit such a huge amount of energy? It's impossible for his material structure to withstand this level of energy output. Fox looked at the steel armor in front of him and said in a very excited tone, according to his scientific understanding, "This is not scientific at all." Jason looked at Fox in a daze and chuckled inwardly. Fox's seriousness about science is indeed very profound. However, the arc reactor was completely technology that was ahead of its time. It is completely out of touch with existing technology. Fox looked naturally confused. Fox, the material of the arc reactor is much more powerful than you think. When the atomic structure is compact to a certain extent, the strength is naturally very amazing. Jason shook his head and explained. In general materials, there are actually gaps inside the molecules. The force between the electrons in the atomic nucleus makes the molecules and atoms of the material not so closely connected at all. And when a strong enough force acts on the material, squeeze nuclei and electrons together directly, the strength of this material is amazing. Otherwise, what else could he say? The arc reactor is the strongest part of the steel armor. Looking at Fox, his face was still a little dull. Jason said with a smile, "Don't worry, I will show you the technology, and then you can study it yourself." "What do you think of the armor I studied? How does it compare to the armor you developed?" Jason asked very sincerely. Fox is also a master of armor. Almost all of Batman's armors come from this old man who looks very ordinary, including the armor that can fight Superman. In terms of armor, Fox is still very accomplished. Hear Jason's words. A flash of excitement flashed in Fox's eyes. Then he shook his head and said, "This is not easy to compare at all. I have not studied this kind of full-body armor. The armor Bruce uses is completely different. I think your armor is not for people who are proficient in combat." Jason nodded. Indeed, Iron Man's armor was originally prepared by Tony Stark for himself. Tony Stark's fighting ability. In the beginning, it was just a little better than a fight between gangsters on the street. Later, although I found someone to train me, that was it. Fox, who is proficient in armor design, can naturally tell it at a glance. Yes, it is. This is originally armor that focuses on protection. It is not designed for close combat at all. The attack relies entirely on the energy weapon system of the armor. Completely different from the armor that Bruce uses almost exclusively for close combat. Jason said in agreement. Batman's armor is completely different from the iron armor. As long as someone puts on a steel battlesuit and trains for a few days, he can have the fighting power of Iron Man. But Batman is different. Batman was originally a fighting master, and his fighting ability was very strong among ordinary people. It can be said that the original purposes of the two armor designs are completely different. It's just that Fox doesn't have to worry about this at all. Instead, he asked curiously, "Energy weapons? You mean, after installing the buffer system, this armor can actually have space to install energy weapons?" Fox's face was very shocked. Things like battle armor are very large at the beginning. This is because the weapon system occupies a very large volume. Take energy weapons for example. The existing energy weapon system is basically laser weapons by default. Rely on high-energy laser to produce high-energy rays to attack enemies. Some of the smallest laser weapons that can be used by the military require a file size of several cubic meters at least. This kind of thing simply cannot be loaded on a single-player armor. This is why Fox was so shocked when Jason said there was an energy weapon system on this armor. Because according to existing science and technology, this is impossible. Jason smiled when he heard Fox's question. Indeed, this is the soul of this armor. Building such an advanced weapons system is not easy, Jason said with some emotion. The Mark series of steel armors have many and complex weapons. The plasma beam pulse weapon in the palm of the hand is also the main weapon of the armor. The power of the weapon can be determined based on the energy output file size. The Javelin 2 inches anti-armor missile on the arm has a range of 1,000 meters and can penetrate 1,150 to 1,400 millimeters of homogeneous steel. The laser cutter on the finger is mainly used for cutting. When necessary, it consumes a lot of energy and can be used as a weapon. The short-range multi-target missile launch nest on the shoulder can launch a large number of missiles in a short period of time to kill the effective forces when being attacked at close range. It can be installed optionally. The shoulder armor has two built-in 6-unit anti-infantry launchers, which can lock and attack 12 infantry units at the same time. There are 20 additional guided bombs on the left and right sides of the crotch, which are normally stored. The front of the thigh stores 6 high-hardness warhead launchers, one on the left and one on the left, which can shoot in the 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock directions at the same time. The holographic operating system switches between civilian and military states, and is taken over, assisted by the artificial intelligence JARVIS. The voice recognition system uses Tony Stark's original voice recognition. The sensor recognition is Tony Stark DNA biometric recognition. The hand recognition is fingerprint recognition, and the head recognition is pupil recognition. The wearing method is guided by infrared sensors, and the unused state is a streamlined box storage state. The combat mode is all-weather mode and the combat time depends on the output of the reactor. It can be said that it is these rich weapons and various auxiliary systems on a steel armor that make Iron Man so powerful. And I want to put these things together on a wearable armor that is only as tall as a person. The difficulty can be imagined, especially the main weapon of the steel armor, the plasma beam pulse weapon. Not only is it difficult to load, but it is also very difficult to design. If Fox were to come in, he would certainly not be able to design such a transcendent weapon. It's normal for Fox to be very surprised. You can probably design the other weapons on Fox's armor, but the plasma pulse beam weapon on the arm, you probably haven't seen this before. Jason smiled and said, "It's true. It's incredible to use plasma as a weapon. How do you control high-energy plasma?" Fox asked, very confused. His mind is full of questions now. I hope Jason can answer his questions. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this. And join my Patreon if you want to support me, link in the description. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.